I-94 live, the cities of Chicago and Milwaukee. And tonight we're up north for Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet. This I-94 rivalry comes to American Family Field, where the Chicago Cubs are in town against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs led in by Kyle Tucker, their new superstar in right field, coming over from the Astros in the offseason. And the Brewers, the division champion 3 of the last 4 years, led by 21-year-old Jackson Chourio, the youngest player in baseball. Alongside Dontrell Willis, I'm Wayne Randazzo, and D-Train, 2 good teams trying to claim the Central.
Let me tell you something. The environment is real in this ballpark. I saw the fans jawing at each other 2 hours before the ball game, almost knocked my foot out. It's going to be a fun one, plenty of star power on both sides.
Well, be careful out there. The Cubs and the Brewers going at it here tonight. First time that they've met so far this season. The Cubs certainly have a different look about them, with Kyle Tucker leading the way in right field, but really a powerful outfield overall.
Well, it might be one of the best outfields, and not the best outfield in all of baseball. You see the slug, you see the lineup presence, but they also, Wayne, can go get the baseball. You look at guys that have gold gloves on both of corner outfield and PTA. When it's all said and done, he's going to have a gold glove in his back pocket, but they are the teeth of the lineup, and they're playing and firing at all cylinders. They're going to continue to slug the baseball, and we know when it gets warm in Wrigley, that ball's going to even fly out that ballpark even more. I love the damage from Kyle Tucker, though, especially being the presence in that lineup. When he is healthy, he's one of the best threats in all of baseball.
Well, the Cubs lead the majors in scoring, and those outfield ranks don't even include Seiya Suzuki, who's really an outfielder, but he's been DHing most of the year.
You want to talk about lineup presence and depth. They can use guys, put guys in the outfield, sit them on the bench, but bottom line is they're going to score runs at a high clip, almost 6 runs a ball game thus far.
Well, the Cubs certainly have been getting it done offensively, trying to take back the National League Central from the Brewers, who won 93 games last year. They were the division champion. They've won it 3 of the last 4 years, but they lost some key pieces. Willie Adames is gone. Devin Williams, their all-star closer, and Colin Ray has switched from the Brewers to the Cubs, and he's been a mainstay now in the Chicago rotation.
Absolutely. These are tough losses, not only in their presence in the lineup, but they were captains in that locker room and tone setters. Devin Williams, one of the best closers in baseball, and you see the numbers that Willie Adames, that's why he landed that monster contract in San Francisco, but you have to be creative, and you still have star power in this young guy, in Jackson Chourio. I love watching this young man play. He can cover the baseball inside, outside, it doesn't matter. A yard off the plate, Wayne, he can still knock the cover off the baseball. He just has to stay within his strike zone, stay within himself, and allow the game to come to him. But everything circles around this young man, and he just turned 21 years of age. Truly a star.
Well, he's the youngest player to have a 2020 rookie year. Only 2 others had ever done it, Mike Trout and Vada Pinson for the 1959 Reds. Took a couple months, but Chourio figured it out pretty quickly at the major league level. So the Cubs and the Brewers here tonight in Milwaukee. In the Brewers' case, well, they still have one superstar left over. Christian Yelich, the former MVP, trying to find that form once again. And for more on Yelich, we send it down to the 3rd member of our crew. Here's Heidi Watney.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Christian Yelich was having a resurgent season last year before his back troubles started yet again. The former MVP has spent 6 different stints on the IL due to back troubles. He didn't play after July 24th of last season, ended up having back surgery late August, but he told me that he's feeling good. His back is healthy for the first time in a long time. He said that microdiscectomy relieved the pressure and pain that he was dealing with. Once he got past the physical therapy, he's been feeling great, and he's been turning it up at the plate over the last couple of weeks, batting over 300 with an .859 OPS. He's in there as the DH tonight. He said he doesn't mind being the designated hitter, also loves to play the outfield. He likes a good mix of both. We'll see how he fares against Ben Brown and the Cubs from Milwaukee. We'll be right back with lineups and first pitch.
steals a hit. Christian Yelich, a grand slam.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. It's Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet. I am here with Brewers second baseman Bryce Terang, who is off to a fantastic start this season. Third in all of baseball in runs scored, tied for third in the NL in hits. What did you work on this offseason to have such a good start to the season?
Just being myself, going out there and competing every pitch. Just doing what I know how to do and not be anybody I'm not.
You lead the team in stolen bases. What do you look for when you get on base to wreak the havoc?
Just trying to put our team in the best position to score a run. If they're giving it to us, or if I feel like I can get a good jump, then that's just what I'm going to do. So just try to help the team win in any aspect of the game.
All right, Pat Murphy called you a gamer. Good luck out there tonight.
Thank you.
Back to you, Wayne.
Now Bryce Terang out of Santiago High School in Corona, California. He's in the Midwest now, and he's right in the middle of this Cubs Brewer rivalry as the Brewers get ready to take the field. And we welcome those of you watching us live on X, as we will have this live stream up for the entire first inning. You get the full one-inning D-Train experience right here on X.
You got to love it. It's going to be a good matchup tonight. I think both these teams feel like they have a chance within the division. The Cubs are firing on all cylinders right now. I know that makes you happy, Weezy, but the Brew Crew is going to be a tough fight, especially in this ballpark for this series.
Well, the Brewers say they're using an opener, although Tyler Alexander could also log 5 or 6 innings. I guess we'll find out along with Pat Murphy here tonight what Alexander will give the Brewers.
Absolutely. He can give you depth, especially going through the lineup once, but he's only allowed 1 home run. That's a big factor, especially when the Cubs are knocking the cover off that baseball over the last couple weeks. They want him to be able to settle in and go through the teeth of the lineup, especially a lefty-on-lefty matchup against Kyle Tucker. But I love his arsenal, especially when he loves to throw that cutter. He can back it up. He also can tie up the right-handed batter, a four-seam fastball at the top of the zone. Able to change eye level, Wayne, throwing that sinker to pitch to contact. But I want to see him get ahead and stay ahead. And the Brew Crew since April 1st have been outstanding of throwing strike one and getting ahead.
We'll show you the lineup for the Chicago Cubs, the team that has been the best offensively in Major League Baseball so far this year. And brought to you by BetMGM. There's Seiya Suzuki, who is the designated hitter now with Kyle Tucker in right field. Suzuki had a couple of homers yesterday, including one off of Paul Skeens. Cubs had 3 home runs off of Skeens in 1 inning yesterday.
Yeah, they showed that they're going to be able to hunt the fastball and not miss it. Also, this lineup has a lot of depth. They beat up on the Dodgers. They beat up on the Padres as well. You look at Carson Kelly in the middle of that lineup, and Michael Busch has been absolutely outstanding in his second year in the Cubs uniform.
So it should be an interesting series here between the Cubs and the Brewers. It's their first of their 13 matchups this year, and they could all be important when you think about the National League Central and how the wild cards mix into it. These games matter even though it's the beginning of the month of May.
And if you're Chicago Cubs, you missed the postseason 6 of the last 7 seasons. So you have a roster that you feel like you not only can go into the postseason, but have a deep run and represent the National League and World Championship.
It's Ian Happ to lead things off for Chicago. He has become such a steady player for the Cubs, and he fits right in at the top of the order. A guy who draws a lot of walks, has some power too. And Tyler Alexander misses bit ball 1. Now, we were supposed to see Quinn Priester starting for Milwaukee, and the plan is, I guess, to use Priester at some point. But with Tucker in the number 2 spot, they at least want to clear Tucker. So here's Alexander facing Happ to start things off.
And Tyler Alexander is comfortable in being his opener role. You can see that he's aggressive with the fastball, and with so many injuries, especially in the rotation, Pat Murphy has to get creative to continue to keep this pitching staff afloat in this division.
The National League Manager of the Year in 2024. There's a strike to Happ, something Craig Counsell never did as the manager of the Brewers. No Brewer manager had ever been the manager of the year until Pat Murphy won it. But there is the Wisconsin native, although he's not really greeted very nicely in his hometown anymore.
Yeah, no more free cheese curds out there when I heard all those boos. But you know what? He did a lot of damage, especially in a uniform for the Brew Crew. Leads them all time in wins, and so he still has a soft place for this organization in his heart.
His dad worked for the Brewers at one point. He bleeds Wisconsin, but they don't want him here anymore, I guess, as Ian Happ takes ball 3.
Yeah, you go where the money's at. They signed him to a nice little deal at $40 million. I respect it, and he's one of the better managers in the National League, and hopefully that he's impactful for your Cubbies to hoist another trophy.
Well, Pat Murphy was not only Council's bench coach when he was with the Brewers, he was his college coach when Council played at Notre Dame. He was almost your college coach, too.
I told my business I wasn't a good enough student, too.
3-2 on Ian Happ as he strokes one to left, and the Cubs offense trying to start early with a whole lot of Cub fans that made the trip up north to Milwaukee. Leadoff single for Happ brings up Kyle Tucker. Mentioned the Cubs with a 3-homer inning against Skeens yesterday. It was Tucker and Suzuki going back-to-back after Dansby Swanson homered earlier in that 5th inning. This Cubs offense is legitimate. They have scored a whole lot of runs, and they steal a lot of bases too. 3rd most homers in the majors. They lead the major leagues in steals. With Ian Happ at first, it's a strike to Kyle Tucker. There's the 3-homer inning yesterday for the Cubs, who just continue to have a power and speed combo unlike any other in the National League. Well, that's in the song, you know, Go Cubs Go. They have the power, they have the speed.
Fall into a T.
And Tucker with a line drive base hit. Happ is on his way to 3rd. Tucker following him towards 2nd. Will go back to 1st, and the Cubs have him on the corners early.
2 hard-hit baseballs squared on the screws, and you're seeing right now the productivity from this lineup. They have about 6 to 7 guys that can beat you. This is a fastball center cut right over the middle, and I talked about it in the pregame. It doesn't matter if it's lefty on lefty, righty on righty. You cannot make that mistake to Kyle Tucker, especially when he's healthy and firing at all cylinders. Ian Happ doing the little things, taking the extra base as well. So the Cubs are rolling so far.
Now 2 rockets off the bats of Happ and Tucker. And now it's Seiya Suzuki, who has driven in 28 runs, a team-leading 9 homers, taking ball 1 from Alexander. So this premonition that Pat Murphy had to use the opener, well, so far it hasn't worked, and Quinn Priester is getting ready in the Milwaukee bullpen. Fouled away by Suzuki. This was yesterday in Pittsburgh as the Cubs got up on Paul Skeens in a way that really no team has.
Yeah, they did not miss the mistakes from Skeens, especially Suzuki, getting the ball elevated. And when you elevate, you celebrate, and that's what he can do, especially the pull side power.
Well, there's been a lot of elevating and celebrating from this Cubs offense early on. A throw to 1st. With Tucker, you have to be mindful of him stealing a base, but you know, the Cubs will be aggressive on the bases with Happ at 3rd base as well. Lefties don't have much success against Suzuki, so this is a favorable matchup, especially now with the man in scoring position. That was a hittable pitch.
Yeah, you got to get that ball down. If you're Alexander, a little cement mixer at the top of the zone, and it almost fooled Suzuki, and he looked like he was trying to hit the ball to the right side. You can see the second baseman terrain playing almost up the middle, so he was trying to allow that baseball to travel deep to hit that hole on the right side.
Suzuki off to a great start, really picking up where he left off in the 2nd half of last year. That pitch just missed, and Contreras looking at the baseball as if to say, I thought that was a strike. You were supposed to be strike 3 just then.
He was hoping that Suzuki would offer at that, because that was a good pitch down in the zone to Alexander to try to induce a ground ball to the left side.
Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Suzuki. That one is strike 3 called at the top of the zone. Big out for the Brewers.
I thought that was an excellent hold. The various times to the plate. Alexander held for a couple ticks longer than he usually, and all of a sudden that fastball played up. Suzuki gets his foot down late, and now that 90 feels like 95, especially when you're looking for something soft up in the zone.
Well, it's interesting now because Alexander has faced 3 batters, so if Pat Murphy wanted to bring in Priester, he could, as Carson Kelly, who's been enormously hot to start the year, stands in. Another check on Tucker at 1st. For a guy that's been around, Kelly has found new life in this Cubs offense. He's typically hit around the bottom of the order. He's batting cleanup today. He's hit .360 with 7 home runs. He has 15 walks, only 6 strikeouts, so he has been Ruthian at the plate here. That's the first pitch missing for ball 1 to Carson Kelly. Leads all major league catchers. That OPS, it's unreal. 1347 for Kelly. That's how you used to do it.
Get your foot down, Wayne. You see the tapes. You know what? For me, what I see from Kelly right now is that his strike zone awareness is better. He's not chasing outside the zone. He's also doing a great job of putting himself in hitter-friendly counts, 2-0, 2-1, and being aggressive and not missing the mistakes within the zone.
Cubs lead all of baseball in RBIs for catchers. Miguel Amaya part of that as well. 2-0, and it's a strike to Kelly to make it 2-1.
Good pitch by Alexander right there. Kelly's hunting for that fastball to try to put something elevated. Alexander does a good job of throwing off speed to slow him down.
Tyler Alexander, like Carson Kelly, was born in Chicago but grew up somewhere else. 2 balls and a strike on Kelly, who grew up in Oregon. He floats one to shallow right field. This one is dropping. In comes Frelick. He can't get it, and it's a base hit. The Cubs take the lead as Ian Happ scores, and it's another run batted in for Carson Kelly.
Kelly doing a good job of fighting off this fastball, ties him up, but just strong enough to get it over the second baseman's head. Jam shot, but a line drive and an RBI in the book.
Keep in mind, the Brewers have not won a game yet this season in which their opponent scored first. They're 0-10. As Michael Busch stands in and fouls one off, Milwaukee's the only team in the majors that hasn't won a game yet this year when their opponent scored first.
It's a tough go, especially when you're trying to piece together rotations, openers, and when your offense is not built to be able to come from behind. You've got to be able to shut down innings early in the ball game for your offense.
Tucker jumping around at second base as Busch grounds one to first. Hoskins gets it to second for one. No return throw to first with the pitcher covering. So Busch rolls into a force out. Kelly's out at second base, and that's 2 away with Tucker going to third. Hardest double play turns that 3-6-1. What's happening in the mind as a pitcher?
Well, you've got to get over to the first base and really cover the bag and also find the baseball and where it's coming from. So that's why you got to hustle over there. But I think Alexander's night is done.
First inning pitching changes. You don't see that a lot, but with the opener Tyler Alexander heading out, in comes Quinn Priester for the Brewers. New pitcher for the Brewers is a guy who we thought was going to be. New pitcher for the Brewers is a guy who we thought was going to be the starter tonight, Quinn Priester, and his Arsenal StatCast powered by Google Cloud.
Yeah, the one thing I love about Priester is that he's able to attack with that sinker, has to pitch to contact down. The slider and the cutter do play, but you have to be aggressive as a young man to stay out of the hitter-friendly counts and going deep in the count so he can be efficient.
Well, certainly has family here. He's from Glendale Heights, Illinois, in the Chicago suburbs. He went to Cary Grove High School, and he grew up a big Cubs fan. So certainly a different side of the rivalry now for Priester as he faces Nico Horner with runners on first and third and 2 outs. And time is called. Priester was a first-round pick of the Pirates. Last year he got traded to the Red Sox, only pitched in 1 major league game for Boston. And Milwaukee, with all of its pitching injuries, and they desperately needed more pitching, so they were happy to get Priester from the Red Sox, and he's still only 24 years old. I think they can have something here with Priester. He's got a good arm.
Not an ideal situation if you're a young man to be able to pitch in this situation when you already have a runner in scoring position. You're already down 1-0, but I like that he's going to be aggressive within the strike zone. And when you have an athletic defense behind you, important to be able to get strike one.
The balls and 1 strike on Nico Horner. High strike makes it 0-2. Well, if Harry was still around, he would say they're dancing in the streets of Glendale Heights, Illinois. Watching Quinn Priester, the local kid, facing the Chicago Cubs here tonight. No balls and 2 strikes on Horner. Slap foul. Horner's tough to strike out. He always has been.
Absolutely. And that's what I mean about the lineup depth of the Chicago Cubs. They have power. They have speed. They have plate coverage. They have guys that can grind you down. And so this is a well-constructed lineup, and they're firing at all cylinders right now, and that's why they're in the position at the top of the Central.
We got a breakout star on deck, and Pete Crow Armstrong batting 7th. 0-2 here on Horner. Ground ball sharply hit. It's into right field. A base hit. Tucker scores. Bush at second base is chased back, but he's safe. And Nico Horner, a 2-out RBI, makes it 2-0.
You see what I mean, Wayne? Being able to grind you down. Nico Horner's behind in the count, spoils a good slider, then all of a sudden gets a fastball and goes to the right side, allowing that baseball to travel deep. I love that. Head down through the baseball, forcing the defense to play clean. Gets himself another RBI and keeps the line moving.
And it brings up the number 7 batter, Pete Crow Armstrong, as Bush got chased back to second by Frelick. Crow Armstrong with a ground ball. Somebody has to cover first. Priester gets over, and he's able to make the catch and hold the bag to end the inning. Priester, inheriting runners for the first time in his career, gives up a run, and it's 2-0 Cubs. Take a look at the lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers. Brought to you by BetMGM, with Christian Yelich in there as the designated hitter. Terang and Churio at the top. A lot of speed in this Brewer lineup. Frelick certainly presents some of that as well. As Milwaukee, they've done their own fair share of scoring. They're 8th in the major leagues in runs per game, so it's not as if they have been lacking offense in Milwaukee. And Ben Brown has been a bit of an enigma to start the season for the Cubs. He's had some good outings and some not so good outings.
Yeah, well, he's coming off a rough one, so they're going to watch him closely, but only went past 5 innings, 2 of the 5 starts he had in the big leagues. He has good stuff, but it's a 2-pitch pitcher, so the second and third time around, Craig Counsell's going to watch closely how he navigates the lineup.
That's a big fastball that he has, and then he has his breaking ball, and that's really about it from Ben Brown. So you're going to see the 2 offerings early, and then you're going to have to just dissect it from there. 96 on the fastball to Terang, gets him ahead 0-2.
Where if you're Brown, you're going to have to get ahead and try to limit the pitch per at bat. You know, the advantage goes to the hitter the more pitches they see, especially if you're only possessing or showing 2 pitches. Check that ball. It's not supposed to move like that.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Terang. Chopper is over the mound and into center field. So Terang didn't hit it hard, but in the right spot. And a leadoff base hit for Milwaukee brings up Jackson Chourio.
Number 11, Jackson Chourio.
Little Apple Music for you on a Friday night. Chourio after the first pitch hits it in the air to left center field. Crow Armstrong shoots over to make the catch. So Chourio is the first out in front of Christian Yelich. Well, the arsenal for Brown StatCast powered by Google Cloud. It's pretty simple, 2 pitches.
Yeah, very simple. The 4-seam fastball at the top of the zone anywhere goes from 95 to 98 miles an hour. The knuckle curve, when he has that pitch going, he's going to get a lot of soft contact and swing and miss and the occasional changeup.
Here is Christian Yelich, the designated hitter, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Brown. Yelich trying to find himself. He's been a little bit better lately, but you could hear it in the words of Pat Murphy that there's still some tinkering being done by Yelich to find his form.
Well, as the elder statesman in that lineup and finally healthy, getting a chance to talk to him, he understands after the early home runs in the first month, teams started to attack him differently, and so with Chourio struggling sometimes, he wants to be the factor.
Yelich only played 73 games last year, but he was effective in those games. He made the All-Star team, hit 11 homers, he stole 21 bases, and he batted .315. Just wasn't able to be on the field much in the second half of the season. Back problems have been a cloud over Yelich for the last number of years now, as Brown paints 97 on the outer edge. When he first got to Milwaukee in the prime of his career, he was as exciting of a player as anyone in all of baseball. Ground ball sharply hit, but Horner has it. The flip to Swanson for 1. Over the first 2, a double play. The Cubs scored 2 in the top of the inning. Ben Brown puts up a 0 in the home half as the Cubs with a 4-6-3 double play in the first. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus is Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus is presented by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball. In Milwaukee tonight at American Family Field. The roof is closed. A little chilly out there. I think they closed the roof for you.
Yeah, man, they know I'm Scottsdale soft. It's cold everywhere out here in the Midwest. I'm sorry. It's cold.
46 degrees right now.
Yeah, I told you. I didn't bring my golf clubs. That's how you know train ain't happy.
Dansby Swanson leading things off as he takes ball one from Quinn Priester. Priester inherited runners in the first inning, something he had never done in his career as a career starting pitcher and a former first-round pick. It seemed like Pat Murphy put a lot of stake into having Alexander as an opener, and it blew up with the Cubs scoring 2 runs in the first. Brewers are 9-4 so far this year with the roof closed. They'll open it more as the spring turns into summer.
And I had to buy some cheese curds just to keep warm. It's cold out here, but I actually love the environment when the roof's closed, especially pitching here. Acoustically, it's loud. The fans feel like they're on top of them. It's one of the better environments in all of baseball.
That's a great stadium, no doubt, as Swanson has a line drive base hit. So the Cubs have 5 hits already, and they've all been singles.
Well, so far, it looks like the Cubs lineup is taking advantage, even if they're behind in the count of mistakes so far from Priester and Alexander. That's too good a pitch in the center of the plate. Trying to run that sinker in, and it's just staying, and it's not darting down and in. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to calm down or having foul. It's not having that dart that he.
The majors with bases as Nicky Lopez takes ball one. Cubs third base. He had been. Well, doesn't take our.
Which is fair, but there's also a mentality that comes in, and you can bring some of that information and that knowledge into your new club. And Quinn Berry's one of the
This was yesterday against Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, caught up to the fastball and knew it wasn't coming back right when he barreled that baseball.
Tucker is a legitimate five-tool player.
Absolutely, absolutely. He was my favorite Astro when he was in Houston, you know what I mean, because there was so much talk about Altuve and Yordan Alvarez, but when he was in that lineup, how many big hits has he come, especially with lineup protection? I'm not buying Craig Counsell, and I love Craig. You know I love him, but he's like, well, you know what? He doesn't help everybody else hit, but the presence of having one of the best players in baseball helps.
Well, he's hit over 400 with 5 grand slams in his career with the bases loaded. And I can't imagine Priester's feeling at ease here, facing Tucker with the bases loaded and no outs. Cubs scored 2 in the first. Those runs were charged to the opener, Tyler Alexander. Now Tucker looking to unleash, looks at a strike.
I love that adjustment call by Contreras, calling 2 sliders. You don't have to be so fine with the slider. They're just trying to get him back in the strike zone and getting some confidence against one of the better hitters in all of baseball.
And Tucker lines one to right. It's falling quickly, and it's a base hit. The runners each move up 1 base. Kyle Tucker has his 29th run batted in, and the Cubs have a 3-0 lead.
You see what I mean, Wayne? They're not coming off that fastball. They understand eventually he's going to have to trust himself to come across that plate. But that's the same area that he got his first base hit in, out over the plate where he can extend his arms. You can see his swing is short through the baseball, and he was hunting the fastball. If you're Priester, I would have kept on the slider until he honored it because he was hunting the fastball. It's going to be tough when they're looking for that pitch.
Well, still no outs, and here's Suzuki. He turns away from a breaking ball that got away. And a lot of Cub fans here reacting to that pitch, but it was one that just slipped out of the hand of Priester.
Yeah, you can see the spin, a little bit of cement mixer getting on the side of that baseball, and that's what causes that.
Suzuki 3rd in the majors. He's slugging .619. And he was out in front of that one.
Good one. Finally threw that baseball with conviction. And I've been there, Wayne. You know, sometimes that mound feels 90 feet, 6 inches. And sometimes it feels like you're right on top of the hitter. And right now, when you're guiding the baseball, it feels very far.
Cubs have him loaded, already a run in, and Suzuki fouled that one back. Cubs have hit .300 with runners in scoring position. They're 3 for 6 tonight already. Suzuki might want some pine tar after that bat slipped out of his hand.
Yeah, it's the second time that just slipped out of his hand. He had a little slippage the first at bat. Fastball, another one center cut.
One ball, 2 strikes on Seiya Suzuki. This one off the end of the bat popped up.
That's trouble.
It's Terang chasing it down. He can't reach it. It's a fair ball. A run is in. Suzuki makes it 4-0 on a perfectly placed bloop.
Did you hear me, Wayne, when that ball started flying? I was like, that's trouble. Terang doing his best to hustle. He almost ran about 50 yards to try to get to that line, and he's sensing the wall, and right now the floodgates are open. And where Terang was, he's all about a couple paces from second base, so this was the long run, and really, to be honest with you, he was the only one that could get to that baseball.
Now with the way he runs, if he couldn't get there, nobody else in this ballpark would have either. Strike to Carson Kelly, who drove in a run in the first inning. Well, that ball was softly hit. Everything else the Cubs have hit so far tonight has been pretty squared up, but Suzuki found a hole down the right field line. Now Carson Kelly. Count 1 ball, 1 strike.
Trying to get a ground ball hard at somebody, maybe in a double play.
Priester behind here, 2-1. The base is still loaded and still nobody out. We see the Cubs reacting on the bases.
Yeah, he had to take a stutter step, Wayne, because he can sense.
Well, now it seems like something might be wrong with Terang after that long sprint to the right field line. The training staff wants to come out and have a word with him. Terang has been under the weather lately, so a long sprint like that could have just been more taxing than usual. Seemed kind of coughing into his glove there. He has not been feeling well over the last week.
Yeah, just that stutter step to see where Freelick was, and he wasn't going to collide with him.
Covered 121 feet on that dead run. And I think he's just winded because, as we said, he's just been under the weather for a while.
You got a base hit to get your offense going, and all of a sudden you have a play like that, and so yeah, he looks just winded right now, not getting his breath in him right now.
The fastest players in all of baseball, and he just couldn't quite reach that pop-up from Suzuki. So the Cubs have 4 runs on 7 hits. The first 5 have reached here in the 2nd inning. And the Brewers have their infield in, hoping to get some outs. Ball 3 to Carson Kelly on a close pitch.
See, when you're erratic around the strike zone, you don't get those 50-50 calls, and he needed that call right there.
Kelly had an RBI base hit in the first. Chance for at least one more RBI here. And he taps it up the middle. Terang has it, fires to the plate for the out. What a play by Terang after he was needing a moment to recollect himself after that long run. He makes a good play up the middle.
Let me tell you something, Wayne. He looked like he was in mid-breath, and all of a sudden the baseball finds you, and that was an excellent play, being able to go to his right and fires across his body a strike. And the way they were playing, there was no way they had a chance to have a double play up the middle, but nice and needed ground ball from your Priester.
Michael Busch at the plate here with the bases loaded and 1 out. Strike is in there from Quinn Priester. The Brewers desperate for some outs here after the Cubs have scored 2 runs in each of the first 2 innings. A little bit of help there from the home plate umpire Jansen Visconti.
Eric Contreras did a good job of keeping that breaking ball on the plate, and when you get ahead, I mean, the count just goes in your favor. That's why they're always telling us get ahead and stay ahead, but when you're erratic, you're not going to get that call.
That's the Brewers' whole MO. That's why they continue to pitch well. As Busch lifts one out to left center field, it's hit pretty well. It's Collins chasing it. He's at the wall and it's gone. A grand slam for Michael Busch. And the Cubs have erupted early in Milwaukee. It is 8-0 Chicago. Well, the best offense in baseball so far. They're no joke.
Absolutely. Up and down this lineup, Wayne. Anybody can beat you. And I talked about it in the first inning. They have an excellent balance of power and speed. And right now they're firing on all the cylinders. They're playing aggressive. And I knew Michael Busch was going to be a player. You saw the impact that he had in the lineup last year. Got a chance to get to know him in a Dodger uniform. But, man, that first base is his for a very, very long time because he has power line to line.
His first career grand slam. It's his 6th home run of the year. He's driven in 22. And it's been as advertised from the Cubs offense here tonight. 8 runs on 8 hits. Well, only 4 outs recorded. Horner with a fly ball to right. Now the Cubs are happy for grand slams presented by Dairy Queen. Michael Busch to the opposite field.
Yeah, he was hunting and looking for that breaking ball, and it didn't have the sharpness. His eyes stayed down through the baseball. And like I said, he has Oppo Top-Go power.
Pete Crow Armstrong at the plate now.
Always like Michael Busch's game. They really didn't have a position for him in the Dodger organization, and that's how he ended up in the Cubs. And I knew he was going to be able to hit the ground running, be able to establish that he's a big league first baseman and can defend and can hit for power, as you can see.
Line drive foul from Crow Armstrong, who is the only Cub so far that hasn't reached base safely. But Michael Busch has. Many of the Cubs have. To the tune of 8 runs here early on. This was a bit of a dark spot in the Brewer rotation. Milwaukee starters have largely pitched very well, and even Priester has had some decent outings. They're trying to just hold the fort down. They have a lot of starters on the IL. Brandon Woodruff might be back soon. Aaron Ashby might be back soon. Aaron Savali is out. They got a lot of guys out right now.
Esther Cortez as well, somebody they brought that was going to bring depth to that rotation. So it's going to be very tricky to try to stay afoot of this division if you're piecing together starting pitching.
The rest of the series, Jose Quintana pitches tomorrow for Milwaukee. He's been excellent so far. And Freddie Peralta's their ace. He'll pitch Sundays. So might not be such a walk in the park for the Cubs Saturday and Sunday, but it's quite a start here. And it's Crow Armstrong with the drive to right center, and that one is long gone. They call him PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong has made it a 9-0 start for the Cubs.
Wayne, are we at Wrigley? Do you see this left side of this stadium right now? They are raising the roof right now. I thought the wrong north side right now.
Yeah, sometimes I call it Wrigley North. You know.
Wow.
This has been a beating early on for the Chicago Cubs, and for the Chicago area native Quinn Priester. Well, he might not have such strong feelings for the Cubs after this one.
I've been there though, Wayne. I've gotten beat up against the San Francisco Giants multiple times in front of my friends and family. It's not easy, especially when you're going up against a lineup that's playing well right now. You didn't help yourself as far as falling behind in counts, but you got to be able to continue to battle and try to execute, not only for this game, but this for your teammates down in the bullpen, because somebody's got to get at 27 outs. You know? And so that's just the bottom line, but this is a tough situation for a young man, especially trying to be following the opener.
Quinn Priester out of Cary Grove High School in the Chicago suburbs. His mom actually works for Advocate Health in the Chicago area. Quinn Priester won a state title in Illinois, actually caught a touchdown in the IHSA final. Well, this is not what he was hoping for against his hometown team. Swanson strikes out, but a huge inning for the Cubs. They put up 7 with a grand slam from Michael Busch and a solo homer from Pete Crow Armstrong. We'll talk to Ian Happ in the bottom of the second. Now the Cubs erupting in the second inning, as they have many times already this year. 9 times in a game that they have scored 9 runs in a game. And with a 7-run second, Pete Crow Armstrong raising the roof to cap it off with his home run. And we're happy to be joined here in the bottom of the second by Ian Happ. And Ian, you've now become an elder statesman for this group. You've been around for several years now. What is your thought on how this offense has come together this year and what you guys have been able to do to start this season?
Yeah, I mean, we have a mixture of just a really experienced group with back of baseball cards look pretty good, and some young talent that's been incredible. You know, PCA, you just saw it right there. PCA and Bush, 2 young guys that are swinging it really well.
And you're the first Cub to win 3 consecutive Gold Gloves. I know you take pride in your defense and saving us pitchers. How does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I think just, the work you put in and being able to help out your pitching staff, making some plays out here. We got a good group. Obviously, you know what Pete can do, run around in center, and then Tuck's got a Gold Glove over there too. So we're trying to hold it down in the pasture out here.
Base hit for William Contreras to lead off here in the second inning, brings up Sal Frelick. Catch made by Nicky Lopez in foul territory as Frelick pops out. Now Hoskins will be the batter. Ian, we see on the left field side here all the Cub fans that have made the trip from Milwaukee. It's a well-traveled fan base to begin with. Do you guys feel it when you're on the road and you see more fans from your side than usual?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, they do such a good job of traveling no matter where we are. Obviously here, being so close to Chicago, fans make the trip and pack it out. It'll be another good atmosphere tomorrow, so it's really special.
I mean, I know you've seen a lot of good baseball in your life, but how good is Kyle Tucker now that he's your teammate and is a presence every single day in your lineup?
He's pretty special, huh? It's really fun to watch. I mean, just the at-bats, the consistency of the at-bat. He hits the ball hard all over the place. We saw it already tonight, but he's just a really, really good baseball player all the way around.
1 ball, 1 strike on Hoskins. That's a called strike to make it 1-2. What about Crow Armstrong? How much do you feel like you have to take a young player, especially a young outfielder, under your wing and kind of show him the ropes at the major league level?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to try and help as much as you possibly can. And Pete's so gifted. He's so gifted, and just such a natural talent. The way he runs, obviously the outfield ability, and the twitchiness with the bat, like everything's there. It's just the consistency and learning how to do it at the big league level every single day and doing the little things. And he's like a sponge too. He wants to know, he wants to learn, he soaks it all in. That's really fun to have as a teammate.
Now, your rookie year was 2017 as Hoskins strikes out. So you missed the World Series year by 1 year.
Yep.
But you still came up with Rizzo and Bryant and Baez in that group, and now you've transitioned into a new group of contender with the Cubs. How much would it mean to you to see this group accomplish what that one did?
Yeah, I mean, just for the fan base. I think for the fan base and the group that comes out to watch us every day in the city, I think it means so much to us and so much to these players. As it would for anybody, but I was fortunate enough to play with that group of guys that won it, to learn from all those guys and their experience, and lucky to still be here doing it in the Cubs uniform.
2 outs with Isaac Collins at the plate, and Brown ahead 0-2. Well, you've won 3 Gold Gloves. What's your setup like out there in left field?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be in the right spot out here, give myself the best chance to catch it. Do a lot of work pregame and during batting practice, but try to let it be natural when I'm out here. I think it's the one thing that I learned coming from the infield to play in outfield every day. It was just the more I can let my natural instincts and athleticism take over, not overthink it too much. Just in the infield, you're thinking about a lot of stuff. Out here, you're just trying to be an athlete.
Mullins has a base hit to bring up Joey Ortiz.
Ian, I talked to a lot of guys that have played for the Cubs in the outfield. How difficult is it to play in the outfield, especially at Wrigley Field where the line is so close to the wall, how the ball plays off the wall? Is that something that you develop and work on every single day just to know how the ball plays?
Yeah, I mean, you learn it after a while, but there's just a bunch of different intricacies to doing it every day. And you got the brick wall, you got the cutouts in the corner. It's 355 down the line, which most people don't talk about. I think it's the farthest or the second farthest in the league in the corner. Plus you got the sun, the wind, and there's no foul territory. So there's a couple things going on out there, but you get used to it after a while.
Well, I tell you what, I don't want you jumping in the stands. I want you in that lineup. That's my fault if that ball's in that basket. I don't want you to do no hero stuff. I used to be on my outfielders. And so does the pitcher staff take care of you because you're just so important in that lineup, not only defensively, but offensively as well?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing you learn playing at Wrigley is that, the bricks, they don't give. You're never going to win that battle. We had Belly go into the wall last year and lose a month with a fractured rib, and it's really scary out there. And you want to have those guys in the lineup every single day. So as soon as Tuck got here, I told him, Steve, stay away from that thing, all right?
2 balls and a strike on Joey Ortiz. Now, granted, it's 9-0, but 2 outs and a man on second here. How much do you pay attention to try to cut down that run on a single to you?
Yeah, you're just going to be aggressive with it, try to make a good throw. Through the cutoff, man.
That one hit pretty well by Ortiz, but Crow Armstrong has it to end the inning. Ian Happ from the Cubs, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Turn on baseball's biggest game changer, MLB Big Inning. Experience live baseball in a whole new way with up to 4 games on a single screen.
He is on fire.
MLB Big Inning, every game night on MLB.tv.
Baseball and community go hand in hand. And with pitch, hit, and run, you can make a lasting impact. Register to showcase the foundational skills of young athletes from your local community in the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball, known as Pitch, Hit, and Run. Make an impact today. Pitch, hit, and run. Scan the QR code to sign up and host an event.
When this hot day's done, I walk alone. Long green grass, I'm coming back where I belong. Where I belong. Days gone by, my oh my, I'm going home. When this hot day's done, I'll see your face.
Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet. Tonight's odds brought to you by BetMGM. We're looking at the odds to win the NL Central, and no surprise, the Cubs are at the top of the list after the hot start they've had to the season. The Brewers, though, they're right behind them. Last year, the Brewers took 8 of 13 from the Cubbies in the year after manager Craig Counsell left Milwaukee for the North Side, landing that record $40 million contract. Now, Counsell still owns the most wins as a manager in Brewers franchise history. He said it's emotional for him to come back here. He spent 18 seasons here as a player and manager, but he said it's less emotional for him today than it was for him coming back last year, guys.
Well, and the Brewer fans necessarily agreed. They still gave him a hearty boo here.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't blame them because they're not welcoming back, especially after that announcement. But, that's part of the rivalry. I mean, close proximity, and the Brew crew now have Pat Murphy's done a phenomenal job. Obviously, manager of the year. And so in this region, this rivalry means something to both sides. And so, but the Cubs, they didn't have Kyle Tucker in that lineup last year, and a Michael Bush and a PCA that you can see that's developing into a real impact player. So no disrespect to the Brew Crew, but I think that that record's gonna flip if they continue to score runs at a record clip.
This has been probably the most successful era of Brewers baseball as Nicky Lopez fouls one off. Craig Counsell was the steward of a large part of that era for the Brewers, the most wins in Milwaukee history, and it was a bit of a shock that he went to the Cubs when he did. Technically, David Ross was still employed as the team manager at that juncture as Priester gets a strikeout of Lopez. So there was a lot of talk about Counsell when he was a free agent going somewhere, and there were rumors about this place and that, but it was a bit striking when it was the Cubs, the team that was announced that Counsell was going to be changing directions along I-94.
Yeah, it was a little too close to proximity, especially a division rivalry for the Brew Crew fans. And you got 40 million cheese curds on the line. You got to kind of make that move.
He certainly did, and the Cubs are trying to reach the success that the Brewers have had over the last number of years. It was Milwaukee that won the division again last year, and they've won it 3 of the last 4 years. The Brewers have been to the postseason in 6 of the last 7 years. And again, a lot of that was with Counsell as the manager. But they didn't miss a beat when Pat Murphy took over last year. The only issue for Milwaukee last year was just a horrific ending. But it has been a nice ride and a smooth ride for a Brewer team that doesn't spend a lot of money, but certainly has put together enough to win year in and year out.
Well, credit them for developing well and drafting well,
and the pitching lab.
That's helped them too, 1,000%. And just the mentality of, hey, we're not an organization that's going to go out there and spend a lot of money, but if we develop within, we can control their contracts for a long period of time and still be impactful and put out there a playoff style product of baseball. And so they've done a good job of that. I mean, prior to that playoff run, they've only been in the postseason 4 times in 40 years of existence. So it's a nice little breath of fresh air. And there's an expectation that now this fan base has is that we should be at the top of the division and have a chance to go to the postseason year after year.
Went to the World Series in 1982 when they were still in the American League, when they weren't in the playoffs very much as an American League team. It's been in the National League, and over the last several years they've had a bulk of their postseason work. As Ian Happ takes ball 4 on a pitch that was plenty in the strike zone.
Absolutely, they missed that one. And if you're Priester, you're like, man, I'm finally throwing strikes. I feel like I'm settled in. I gotta have that call. Wow. I wonder where he had it.
Dropped in at the very top third of the strike zone. I mean, that's quite a call from Jansen Visconti, the home plate umpire. And you know, I'm sure you've noticed throughout the league this year, a lot of those high strikes are not being called at the same rate that they had been before.
Yeah, it's tricky, especially when you're looking at the belt up. But if that pitch is received well and it's on the plate, you know, I mean, you like to see that called more, and pitchers are taught to throw the ball down, but you got to give the pitcher the whole strike zone.
And now Tucker with a count, 1 ball and 1 strike. A lot of talk about Tucker's future, although he wants to be cemented in 2025 and in a Cubs uniform. But he is going to be the big ticket free agent if he makes it to free agency.
You see how much chips with Dip Vlad Jr. got, and I know he was watching, and so the impact player that he's been, I mean, he's got numbers where you're talking about only 10 lefties since 1930 have achieved some of the things that he's achieved, and so it's, you're the Cubbies. I have to find it quick, because after each at bat, you're seeing not only how impactful he is, but what he does to that locker room. Hopefully you get in front of that, and hopefully he enjoys it. It looks like he enjoys being in the Cubs uniform, and he likes the direction. It's going to be a sought-out weapon.
Ball 2 to Tucker. And the Cubs gave up a pretty good package to get him. Cam Smith was their first-round pick last year, and he's looked pretty good so far in the big leagues for the Astros. Isak Paredes and Hayden Wesneski in that trade, too. Tucker is a serious MVP candidate year in and year out.
And, you know, the flip side of it, too, if you're looking at it as a front office, if you lose him, that trade looks very bad in that situation of what you gave up just for a rental.
Jed Hoyer's got his own contract too to worry about. He's a free agent
listen.
technically after this season as the general manager. You see Tucker with 2 strikes. Well, he's not sweating it when he gets behind or gets up against the end of the at-bat.
And that's the weapon, you know what I mean? He never punts on at-bats, and he never chases out of his zone. Rarely chases out of his zone, excuse me.
2-2. He laid off there, ball 3. The Cubs still putting together their good at-bats here, despite the huge start. 2 runs in the first and 7 in the second. The Cubs are all over Milwaukee here early on. It is 9-0. And there's another walk. 2 in a row. As Happ and Tucker are on, Suzuki will bat. We'll send it downstairs to Heidi Watney.
When the Cubs traded for Kyle Tucker, they were hoping they could extend him before he hits free agency this offseason, but their calculation changed when Juan Soto signed his $765 million deal, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. got $500 million for the Blue Jays. The Cubs would still love to lock him up, but the belief is that Tucker plans on seeing what he can get on the open market. Early indication he was looking for a 10-year contract nearing $500 million. That number may have gone up with those other massive contracts, guys.
Man. Oh, man. I'm a lot of things. A hater ain't one of them.
Suzuki with an RBI single and a run scored his last time up. Well,
the number went up.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, easy. You're going to have to put something on that with that new jacket. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, but he's worth it. He's worth it. You're seeing the impact and seeing how they went through that gauntlet of the NL West and was 11-9 and the way they scored runs against that team, and those are ultimately the team that they're going to go through.
A lot of those marquee free agents for next year that we showed you are all guys that are well into their 30s at this point.
Right.
You know, Schwarber was the youngest of that group of guys in their 30s, and he's 32. So you look at Tucker at 28 years old, you look at Bo Bichette at 27. You know, those are the 2 guys that are going to try to get the massive deals, although I think Bichette has a little bit more to prove this year than Tucker does. 0-2 on Suzuki. And chopper to third. Big hop leads Durbin to the bag, and he gets the out at third base, but Tucker, as third base was left open, makes it all the way to third.
See what I mean? That's the value of just being a good baseball player and having heads-up gamesmanship. And so understanding the situation and taking the extra base and doing the little things. Yes, you have the impact stuff that's going on the back of a baseball card, but you see the third baseman vacate, you're running, and he looked at it and rarely broke stride because he's such an easy Cadillac runner. I mean, he takes a couple strides and he gets to the bag, and that's why his stolen bases are where they're at, but that's just good baseball.
Carson Kelly couldn't hold his swing. It was a strike anyway, 0-1, but that's in a 9-0 game. Tucker keeping his head right in it.
It's just a captain and a leader and somebody that's played in a ton of big games, impactful, not only in the regular season but in the postseason. And now you have him still in his prime and healthy. Remember, we seen him last year and he was limping around with his leg, and that's when I kind of said, out of all the losses they've had from the George Springers down there in Houston and what have you, they cannot lose him. And once they lost him, then I was like, I'm not sure. No disrespect to Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve, but he's always been the weapon.
In the hole, it's a tough play, a sliding stop, a long throw, and Ortiz retires Kelly. Nicely done. Joey Ortiz in the hole with the sliding scoop and the throw, and plenty of time to end the inning.
Every game night is a chance to go big with MLB Big Inning. Join Matt Yeloff on baseball's only nightly show that brings you the biggest plays of the night, live and commercial-free.
Strikes him out.
No one stacks more clutch plays into one live show with up to 4 games on a single screen.
Out of here! He is on fire. It's a walk-off win.
Change up game night with baseball's biggest game changer, MLB Big Inning, presented by Ram Trucks. Every night, all season long on MLB.tv.
Hot days done, I walk alone, long green grass, I'm coming back where I belong, where I belong.
know Ellie, Gunnar, and Paul's road to the show, but what about yours? The amateur years are just the stepping stone, and your journey to the big leagues. Take control of choices that matter.
Now the third baseman, Derek Martin.
Level up your game.
That one way back, and it's gone.
And become a legend, because your road to the show starts now.
And the Reds are World Series champions.
Bob Uecker passed away in the offseason, and just an ultimate Brewer legend and a legend here in Wisconsin and throughout Milwaukee sports. Uecker, the Ford C. Frick Award winner back in 2003. The Brewers play-by-play announcer for pretty much the entirety of the time the franchise was here in Milwaukee. Here's a squibber up the middle as Durbin bounces out to Dansby Swanson. I want to bring in Heidi here because we heard from both managers before the game, and there's Ueck's seats, up in the nosebleeds. Must be in the front row, as Bob Uecker said in that famous spot. But Heidi, for Pat Murphy and Craig Counsell, an emotional day to come back here and play each other and not have Ueck here.
Yeah, Pat Murphy actually spoke to the team today. He likes to have monthly team meetings. He told the team that they, like Uecker late in his life, have had a lot of adversity this season, but Uecker came in the clubhouse every day, he said, with a great attitude, and he stayed in the moment every day despite dealing with a terminal illness. Murphy said he's looking for that from his guys. Despite injuries and adversity, he wants them to stay focused and in the now with a good attitude like Ueck. And Craig Counsell, he also had a great relationship with Uecker. He said when he first met him, he was Bob Uecker. He's larger than life, but he got to know him well. They did that 15-minute pregame show together every day. He loved hearing the stories from guys like Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron. Counsell said he lived a lot of life in those 90 years, did Uecker.
He certainly did, and he leaves a big shadow over this entire Brewers organization. Pat Hughes is here, the Cubs radio voice and a Ford C. Frick Award winner in his own right. He worked with Uecker a lot in Uecker's heyday when he was filling in for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show and when he was on Mr. Belvedere. And Pat said, Ueck always said that's just extra stuff. Where he really wanted to be was at the ballpark calling the Brewers games. And he said this was home to Ueck. And he said if you really think about it, in the history of Wisconsin sports, maybe Vince Lombardi is the one guy that has a bigger image here in Wisconsin than Bob Uecker.
Well, he's a voice of multiple generations, and so pure class, pure joy. No matter if you saw him on the street or within the locker room, he had a presence about him, but at the same time, a humility about him and a joy about him. And, I was always making jokes about himself in his playing career, but, the chance I got to meet with him when my last year in the big leagues, spring training, and I see this beautiful blue Corvette right next to the locker room. And I'm like, who parks right next to the locker room? And they said, that's Ueck. And I was like, okay, then you can park inside the locker room because of his presence. And so always had something positive to say, always had a beautiful story, always allowed you to talk about stories and your experiences and what have you. And so he's definitely going to be missed, and there's never going to be another Bob Uecker.
That's a good point. And you say there's never going to be another one because, Cub fans know this from having Harry Carey for so long and Jack Brickhouse before that and Ron Santo. Those guys, when they go, there's no replacing them. Other people will sit in these chairs, but no one will replace Bob Uecker here in Milwaukee ever. He will live forever in this city and for what he did as the voice of the Brewers.
Rightfully so, because he embodied the joy of this city and the joy of baseball and sports in his entirety. So absolutely, I'm honored to be in the house that you built.
1-2 on Jackson Churio and a bouncer to third as Nicky Lopez has to rush it. A good defender retires Churio.
Think you know Aaron Judge?
Number one, up on top, the best in modern baseball, non-steroids full season. Then Mickey Mantle in 57 and 56, and Aaron Judge again.
Get in the know with MLB Now on MLB Network.
Since the dawn of baseball, every player has honed their unique skills. Who from this era will prove worthy of legend? watches as the journey unfolds.
When this hot day's done, I walk alone. Long green grass, I'm coming back where I belong. Where I belong. Days gone by, my oh my, I'm going home. When this hot day's done, I'll see your face. There'll be no room for sorrows in our warm embrace. Our warm embrace. As days gone by, up on high, I'll see your face.
To left field. That is gone. Royce Lewis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive and he'll get there. He struck him out.
It's time for a stage manager interview with Pat Murphy. You know, you're down big early. What's your game plan? What's your message to the guys here?
Well, you got to stay with it. There's a great opportunity here to pull something off that's incredible, or have good at-bats and prepare for maybe getting their pen and make them have to use their better reliever, something like that. So we got to mount something coming back.
You changed the game plan right before the game, went with Tyler Anderson to start the game, wanted him to get through those guys in the lineup. That backfired on you. Does it change your thinking about that process going forward?
No, I mean, it didn't backfire on us. We know what we got, but we know what we have in Priester. He's a young pitcher without a lot of experience, never been in an environment like that. We're trying to protect him. Anderson gave up a couple singles. He gave up a blue single to right that changed the whole first inning. So he did his job. He threw strikes and took the pressure off Priester. Priester came in after that, and the floodgates opened.
Thanks, Pat.
All right, thank you.
And I guess in Pat Murphy's mind, well, it was just trying to get through it, and they didn't get through it, whether it was going to be Priester to start or Priester to back up Alexander. However it worked out, the Cubs did what they were going to do, and they put up 9 runs here in the first 2 innings. Largely against Priester, a couple of runs against Tyler Alexander as well.
Yeah, well, you know what? Alexander gave up some contact early that really had to force Pat Murphy to allow him to try to get through 5 batters instead of 3, 6 batters, and then all of a sudden, Priester's in a situation where he's not even in a clean inning and gave up some hits after that, and so really put him in a tough situation. But Contreras right now getting a foul ball off the top of that mitt.
Turned his wrist over on that foul ball, and he's still trying to shake it out back there. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Michael Busch, who is taking over first base for the Cubs. They gave up a lot to get Busch. They traded a couple of big prospects to the Dodgers in Jackson Ferris and Zaire Hope, but you know, the hope was that Busch was going to nail down first base for them, and he largely has.
His bat-to-ball skills is elite. You saw that in a Dodger uniform with guys like James Outman, but they just didn't have a position for him.
It's a liner to left. It was to the opposite field when Busch broke this game open in the second, cranking a grand slam. Statcast powered by Google Cloud as Busch knocked in 4.
You know what? He saw the same breaking ball in the pitch before, and so he was looking for that breaking ball out over the plate, got extension and showed the exit velo over 100 miles an hour opposite field. He got himself a grand slam and really opened the floodgates for the Cubs offense.
Nico Horner at the plate here. Horner had an RBI early with a first inning single. Cubs 9 runs, 9 hits in the first 2 innings. Busch with the grand slam. It really just broke it open. They had a healthy lead before that. It's a bouncer to third off the bat of Horner as he hustles down the line and gets thrown out by Durbin. With 2 outs, it brings up Pete Crow Armstrong.
This your guy right here. You've been talking about him since last year, and I understand and appreciate the ability. You're seeing a confidence from a young man right now, especially where they have him in the lineup. He doesn't have to be the focal point, but You can be a weapon down there, and he's not missing that fastball. He's doing a good job of turning over the lineup and showing his athletic ability, not only offensively but defensively as well. But that power right now, I didn't think that was going to come last year when I saw him win. And now you're seeing him with confidence and strength and backspinning the ball. He's got his loop earring like MJ.
Even our production crew didn't know this guy had the kind of power.
And listen.
Pete Crow Armstrong has 7 home runs so far this year. Well, 17 home runs from the Cubs' bottom of the order. That is the most in baseball from 7, 8, and 9 in their lineup. This guy not only has power, but is just incredibly fast. He has 12 stolen bases. Rolls one over. This is not going to be an easy play. Terang has to hustle it, and he only got him by a step as the Cubs go down 1-2-3 for the first time tonight.
I'm gonna go check out Food Truck Row. So, what did you guys get today?
Philly cheesesteaks.
Both of you got the same thing. Are they that good?
Oh, yeah.
Got a hot dog and some fries.
Just kind of
All
basic
Mark's
ballpark.
Chicken bacon sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
And some...
Crinkle cut fries.
Okay, where are you guys from?
We're from Dallas.
Dallas. That's what's fun about baseball. It brings different regions together, not just the ball and glove and bat, but what we're eating.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
Sadly, windshield chips can turn into windshield cracks. But at least you can go to safelight.com and schedule a fix in minutes.
Sweet.
SafeLight can come to you for free. And our highly trained techs can replace your windshield right at your home.
Safe light, safe light.
Don't wait. Go to safelight.com and schedule now.
Safe light repair, safe light replace.
Can't get enough baseball? Get MLB Network today to stream up to 15 live out-of-market games a week and 24/7 access to MLB Network's award-winning shows. Start streaming MLB Network for just $5.99 a month.
MLB All-Star Week is taking over Atlanta. Get in on the action at Capital One All-Star Village, the ultimate baseball experience for fans of all ages. Test your skills at Play Ball Park. Get immersed in MLB culture and interactive games. Stop to meet legends and grab ballpark bites. Plus, special perks for Capital One cardholders. All-Star fun is around every corner at Capital One All-Star Village, July 12th to the 15th at Cobb Galleria. Get tickets at allstargame.com.
To left field. That is gone. Royce Lewis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive and he'll get there.
Welcome back to Milwaukee. It's time for another stage manager interview with Craig Counsell, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Ian Happ. Seiya Suzuki's not even in the outfield. Is this the best outfield you've ever managed?
Well, they're playing at a really high level for sure, and we're getting production from all of them. Ian's been really swinging the bat and getting on base. On-base percentage like up over 370, which when you're hitting in front of Kyle Tucker, that means good things.
Ben Brown has looked good for you. What are you seeing from him?
Just in the strike zone, you get a lead like this, and you just want to attack the strike zone. And Ben's doing a good job of just attack the strike zone, make him put him in play, see what happens.
Thanks, Craig.
Nice diving play by Nicky Lopez to start the inning on Yelich.
I love that he was on his toes, full extension to his left. Knew he had enough time to pop up and show that arm strength across the diamond. And Brown's like, yeah, I like that. Get a steak dinner in Chicago.
Ben Brown is from Long Island. Went to the same high school as Steven Matz, as we see Nicky Lopez playing third base, which has been a little bit of a revolving door for the Cubs so far this year. Matt Shaw was the opening day starter, and a big prospect for them. He wasn't quite ready. Craig Counsell said he looked a little bit out of sorts offensively, was becoming too much of a defensive hitter. And so they sent Shaw to get himself straightened out at AAA. They still think he's going to be the third baseman of the future. And, for Cub fans of a certain age, third base was always an issue before They traded for Aramis Ramirez, and it was about 30 years there between Ron Santo and Aramis Ramirez where they could never find a third baseman.
I tell you what, I still wake up in cold sweats going up against Ramirez. He had a grand slam off me, a couple hard hit balls in the playoffs, and it's really a stability weapon when you have your corner infielders not only defensively talented but a presence in the lineup as well. But Lopez has a chance to be able to be a good athlete.
I will never forget the moment in time when Aramis Ramirez hit that grand slam off during the NLCS.
You know what? You didn't cross the line, bro. You didn't cross the line.
I was listening to Patty Hughes. I'll never forget it.
You know, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I'm glad you enjoyed that. That's why I'm sitting in the booth right now, because I was giving too much grand slams.
You won.
That's right. That's right. You don't want me to start them. I'm finally getting to walk around Chicago in peace since y'all day 1 and 16. So don't make me start bringing up some stuff. I know where Bartman lives at. Okay. Tell you, we sent him a World Series ring.
I bet. No balls and a strike, 0-2 now on Freely. Well, you guys won the ring. It doesn't matter now.
I've never seen you that joyful to say that line right there. I thought you was my man. It's early in this season. Nah, but he was an outstanding player, and you just need that stability. But with this lineup and this team, no, a Swiss Army knife is key.
Swanson can't reach that. It's a base hit for Freely. Crow Armstrong gets it in with 2 outs. (9-0). The Cubs have the lead here, and we'll send it back to our studio. Here's Lauren Gardner.
Yeah, we did it on our other game here on Apple TV Plus out in Pittsburgh. Padres Pirates. You see this here in the 3rd inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit hard by a pitch in the forearm. He leaves the game with some swelling. You'll see the bump here. Pretty nasty.
Certainly looks quite nasty. That's a big bump that developed very quickly on Tatis. Hopefully he'll be okay.
He's been absolutely outstanding. Top 5 in batting average. Obviously the focal point and healthy in that lineup, and a big reason why the Padres have success. Man, that looked nasty. But you know what, as a starting pitcher, you know, and I think that's something that's gone away this generation, learning how to throw the baseball correctly inside for effect and then a strike. You don't see that as much, and so that's why you're seeing more hitters get hit in the hammock bone, in the forearm, what have you.
Rhys Hoskins at the plate here with 2 outs. Padres leading that game in Pittsburgh tonight 5-2. The White Sox lead Houston tonight 4-2, wearing their new City Connect uniforms with a tip of the cap to the Bulls, the red and black White Sox uniforms. What you like, you said?
I like them a lot. I love the little pinstripe, the contrast, and that old school Bulls feel. And I know you, being a Chicago native, you remember when they came out with those pinstripes in their heyday. So I like it. Well constructed.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Hoskins. The Brewers and their City Connects tonight. The Brew Crew. A rough night here in the MKE for the Milwaukee Brewers. Tobias Myers up in the bullpen. As Pat Murphy looks on, hoping for a better weekend ahead of what's happened here so far tonight. Chopper to Nicky Lopez. Hoskins does not run well. Lopez with plenty of time to end the inning.
Your day in baseball starts with MLB Central. Lead off your morning with in-depth breakdowns, interviews with the players, and a little bit of everything else. The baseball day begins with MLB Central, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, only on MLB Network.
The power of baseball goes beyond the field.
Children's of Alabama is a hospital that serves over 300 pediatric patients. So it was incredibly important to us that we came here and was able to spread a little bit of joy. To leave a legacy when we are in different areas of the country is incredibly important to us and a priority.
Together. Together. Together.
Well, that's a great baseball comment, and good guess, by the way.
Good luck trying to hit that, man. It's unhittable.
This is the show that never ends.
You love the players.
50-50.
You love the game.
God!
Now you can own baseball greatness. MLB Auction lets you bid on game used and autographed bats, balls, jerseys, and more. With items added all season long from your favorite major league teams, legends, and players. Each item is MLB authenticated to ensure the item shipped directly to your home is the real deal. Want a piece of the game? Visit auctions.mlb.com.
To left field. That is gone. Royce Lewis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive, and he'll get there. He struck him out.
Pitching decisions presented by Sage. Ben Brown, 4 scoreless innings tonight. He had a whale of a game here last year against the Brewers at American Family Field, working 7 hitless innings and striking out 10, his best major league start so far.
Yeah, the velo, he was touching 97, 98, and that's knuckle curve, as you can see with that finishing pitch, was absolutely outstanding, especially when he threw it down. And so you see the stuff that he possesses, even though it's a 2-pitch mix. And Greg Counsell talked about it. If you're only having 2 pitches, you have to be efficient and you have to be elite on staying out of the middle of the zone.
Strike to Dansby Swanson with a new Quinn Priester still out there for the Brewers. Priester, though, nearing the end of his rope at 92 pitches now. He came on with 2 outs in the first inning, gave up that explosion in the second inning with the Cubs scoring 7 runs. But Priester has at least been able to get through his pitch count as he strikes out Swanson here and eat up some innings, which has its own value.
Well, you know, it's showing the mental toughness, and you're going through growing pains. And Pat Murphy says, listen, he's a developed product right now. We like what we see from him thus far, but, you know, he's going to have some bumps in the road, and obviously he had a big one coming in behind the opener. The plans didn't go where he wants to, but he didn't mail it in, and he continued to make pitches. And once he got his heart rate down and settled in, you're seeing the command, you're seeing the stuff, especially the sinker down. I thought he made some mistakes with the sinker up, and that's what cost him, but right now he seems to be more in sync with his throw downhill.
He struck out Swanson a couple of times. Nicky Lopez has struck out as well tonight as the Brewers get Tobias Myers ready to come in. And again, the rest of this series tomorrow night, Quintana for Milwaukee against Jamison Tyone for the Cubs, and a really good matchup Sunday between Freddie Peralta and Shota Imanaga.
Yeah, I think don't want to put anything past this talented Cubs offense and the way they've been firing at all cylinders, but you know, they'll still have a chance to salvage this series, especially Jose Quintana, who's beaten all the teams in Major League Baseball. Got a chance to talk to him earlier and just talk about his career and his work ethic, and he says he feels good. And obviously Freddie Peralta, one of the best frontline starters in all of baseball, and somebody that's been very experienced in a Brew Crew uniform, and that's going to be the weapon for them. Keep the game low scoring and within striking distance.
Inside out swing and a low liner to third. Looked like it was caught, but Durbin will finish the play anyway. 2 up, 2 down as Priester has settled in since that big inning when the Cubs took the massive lead. Now up 9-0.
To me, he's showing me his mental toughness, in which that's going to go a long way with the locker room. Yes, they're most likely the score is going to stay where it is and they lose this ball game, but I guarantee there's going to be a lot of guys that come out of that bullpen and pat him on the knee and be like, man, you showed us a lot, man, because usually when games go, guys want to mail it in, don't want to be out there anymore, but it's not about you anymore. It's about saving those weapons down there so you don't have to deploy them and have a chance to win the series the next 2 days.
Yeah, that's really what it's about for the Brewers, trying to take a couple of games here from the Cubs this weekend. The Cubs are in first place in the National League Central, trying to get their 20th win of the season as Ian Happ is cut down on strikes to end the inning. So for Quinn Priester, it turned out to be a better night as it went along, retiring the last 8 in a row.
Unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Let's just get one of everything.
Buy everything. Yes, chef. 3% cash back on chicken. Yes, chef. 3% cash back on dessert.
Sorry, chef.
What's in your wallet?
Every game night is a chance to go big with MLB Big Innings.
Join Matt Yeloff on baseball's only nightly show that brings you the biggest plays of the night, live and commercial-free.
Strikes him out.
No one stacks more clutch plays into one live show with up to 4 games on a single screen.
Out of here! He is on fire. It's a walk-off winner.
Change up game night with baseball's biggest game changer, MLB Big Inning, presented by Ram Trucks. Every night, all season long on MLB.tv.
Since the dawn of baseball, every player has honed their unique skills. Who from this era will prove worthy of legend? The world watches as the journey unfolds.
We got our hands up in the air, 'cause it's a party. We having fun here, 'cause it's a party. Oh my, this guy is next level. Oh my goodness.
Lots of great baseball coming, and good guess, by the way.
Play baseball like I'm still a young kid, like a little teenager.
Good luck trying to hit that, man. It's unhittable.
What a moment! This is the show that never ends.
Beware of your worst nightmare. My flame compares to that of Ric Flair. I break rules and break food. I'm about to lose it on the
Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're in downtown Milwaukee tonight, at least adjacent to it, here at American Family Field, where the Cubs and Brewers are kicking off their 2025 matchup. First of 13 games for these two division rivals. Milwaukee won 8 of them last year. And the Cubs trying to turn the division back to their side. It's been a while since the Cubs have been able to have any success in the postseason. 2017, they had that Game 5 division series win against the Nationals. They have not had any success in the postseason since then. They have not won a playoff game since 2017.
Missed the playoffs 6 of the last 7 seasons. So you look at a lineup that's well constructed. They seem like they have a joy playing with each other and for each other, and that's a very important component if you want to be a postseason type ball club.
Like that young Brewer fan was reminiscing about the first 2 innings here tonight.
Yeah, it seems like 2 different days. That first couple innings, I was like, uh-oh, and you know, the way they've been able to play well against that National League West, I think it's really sent shockwaves within their own locker room, saying if we can do that to these upper echelon, we can do it in the division. And right now, he's like, what's the score, Daddy?
Even when the home team's down 9-0, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark, okay? Swing and a miss by Isaac Collins as Ben Brown saves his best for this ballpark. Evidently, he's having a good night.
Oh, look at the baby.
Well, the game summary reflective of the feelings of this kid after the Cubs went up early, big, scoring 9 runs in the first 2 innings. Michael Busch a grand slam, and Pete Crow Armstrong a home run as well. Quinn Priester at least fought through 4 1/3 innings. Milwaukee just 4 hits off of Brown, although that's 4 more hits than they had the last time they faced him in this ballpark, when Brown allowed no hits in 7 innings, reaching 10 strikeouts. Brown has 3 strikeouts tonight, facing Joey Ortiz here.
That's difficult for the Brewer offense because it's just a natural state when you want to go up there and something like that happens with a big inning. You want to try to get it all back within one swing. And so love what Pat Murphy said about just grinding in bats and putting together quality at bats and trying to get to the bullpen.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Ortiz. 9-0 Cubs here in the 5th. Ben Brown was a 33rd round pick out of high school when he was drafted by the Phillies. Lopez able to pick that one with his range off the bag at 3rd. 2 up, 2 down in the inning. Stream every out-of-market MLB game. Now available at a new low price, $139.99. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Eric Young was pretty good for the 2001 Cubs. Jeremy Burnitz had his moment in the 1998 time when he was with Milwaukee. And there's Aramis Ramirez.
You know what, Wayne?
That almost went foul.
Don't bring it up. Nah, he was a heck of a ball player, man. Fun to go up against him, and a really good guy, and a quiet leader, a lot like Kyle Tucker.
If Swanson can make the play behind second, he certainly can. A very good defender, a Gold Glove winner, and a 1-2-3 inning.
Roar is back in Motown. Right now in Major League Baseball, we have a new Tiger King. Tarek Skubal owns this mound.
Look at him walking off the mound. This guy's a nightmare. This kid's special, doing it all.
Riley Green saves the day.
Does everything on the field, plays great defense, can steal bags.
He's a monster.
If I'm on time, I know my swing is going to be in the best spot possible for me to hit the ball.
Riley Green tears into another one.
That's the Tigers, baby.
It's a great night for baseball.
This matchup features some of the best talent in the game. A lot of power, a lot of marquee names.
Here we go. Buckle up, folks. There's a guy who wants to be in the spotlight.
The bats have come alive. A showstopper.
We're just playing Powerball.
This place doesn't know what hit him.
These teams are entertaining, are they not? The show continues.
Experience game-to-game coverage of the night's biggest moments, live and commercial-free. MLB Network Strike Zone, Wednesday and Friday nights all season.
Your day in baseball starts with MLB Central. Lead off your morning with in-depth breakdowns, interviews with the players, and a little bit of everything else. The baseball day begins with MLB Central, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, only on MLB Network.
To left field. That is gone. Roy Slovis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive, and he'll get there. He struck him out.
Baseball and community go hand in hand. And with Pitch, Hit, and Run, you can make a lasting impact. Register to showcase the foundational skills of young athletes from your local community in the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball, known as Pitch, Hit, and Run. Make an impact today.
Left-handed hitters with a 500-plus slugging percentage and 100-plus steals through age 28. Some really outstanding players on that list, including Kyle Tucker.
You know what? You start getting compared to that ball players like that, Darryl Strawberry, Reggie Jackson, Sean Green, who also homered off me. But that's serious talent. And that's why he's going to be sought after if the Cubbies allow him to get to free agency.
It's Tobias Myers, who played a pretty big role for this Brewer team last year. Kind of came out of nowhere. Well, you say that a lot about Milwaukee's pitchers. They run these guys through and they find success out of them. The Brewers, who as a team throw more fastballs than any other, they're just trying to get to 2 strikes on you as quickly as they can.
Well, that's how you be efficient. You be aggressive, and that mentality forces you to trust your fastball. And sometimes that art gets away, and you'll see slider after slider, and it puts pitchers in situations, if they miss with their slider, to be in hitter-friendly counts, and all of a sudden you go from throwing 3 to 4 pitches to 6 to 7 pitches. And so I love that mentality. That's old school baseball, of trusting your fastball and using it and getting ahead and forcing the action within the strike zone.
Kyle Tucker at the plate here to lead off the 6th inning against Tobias Myers. Tucker has 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and an RBI tonight. He's not been retired yet as he takes ball 2. If the Cubs are dreaming about not only winning the National League Central, but making noise in October in a crowded National League, there are a lot of good teams in the National League. This guy is the #1 reason why the Cubs fans can believe that maybe they can beat the Dodgers or the Mets or the Padres in the postseason. Tucker bounces out as we go down to Heidi.
Well, Kyle Tucker, didn't wear batting gloves to begin his career. He said he kept tearing them in high school. His mom said he was done buying him gloves. But he has often been compared to Ted Williams, so much so he was used as a body double for Teddy Ballgame in a PBS documentary. Now, Tucker, early on in his career, he just grabbed dirt, rubbed it in his hands for grip. But once the pitch clock was implemented, he didn't have time for that. Started using gloves. Since then, Since 2023 is the third highest OPS in MLB, behind only Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. So I think the gloves did him some good. Wonder if Teddy Ballgame would have helped with some gloves too, although he was pretty good, right guys?
He hit 406 one year. I think that was all right.
Batting gloves, rubbing dirt, oven mitten, it doesn't matter. Kyle Tucker stays on that barrel.
There's Tucker's numbers since the batting gloves started to become part of his at-bats. Aaron Judge.
Oh my goodness. I mean, won the MVP and the Hank Aaron Award last year, and he's having a better start than he did last year, Wayne.
Yankees won tonight. Max Fried only allowed one hit as they beat the Rays. Paul Goldschmidt hit a 3-run homer. The Judge had a double and a triple tonight. He's batting .430.
Well, you look at Max Fried with all the injuries and inconsistencies in their rotation. How big is that signing thus far? You hope that he stays healthy because he's impactful. Paul Goldschmidt, how many games we called him the Cardinals? We're warning that was going to be the end of him, and all of a sudden he's revamped in a Yankee uniform, and obviously Aaron Judge is pacing to have one of his best years yet, if you can say that, in a Yankee uniform, and has a chance to win another MVP as the captain.
2 outs as Suzuki strikes out. Kelly will bat now. He's got an RBI single tonight.
See, Wayne, see what you did, man. Now you got your Cubs fans tweeting at me about Ramirez hitting a home run off me. Now I got to have cold sweats and nightmares about it again. I just got over that, man.
You guys won. It's all gravy.
They're tweeting at me already. I love it. I love it, man. You know how many people I tell in Chicago all the time, I was a Cub. Really? Blame Jim Henry. Don't blame me.
Yeah, they'll get around to that too. Don't worry. Kelly fouls out, and that ends the inning.
Can't get enough baseball? Get MLB Network today. Scan the QR code to stream up to 15 out-of-market games a week live on any device. Plus, 24/7 access to MLB Network's award-winning shows, including live game look-ins and exclusive player interviews. And live radio play-by-play from all 30 clubs with MLB at bat.
Have yourself a night!
Enjoy the home of baseball from virtually anywhere. Scan now to stream MLB Network for just $6.99 a month.
It's a great night for baseball.
This matchup features some of the best talent in the game. A lot of power, a lot of marquee names.
Here we go. Buckle up, folks. There's a guy who wants to be in the spotlight. The bats have come alive.
A showstopper.
We're just playing Powerball.
This place doesn't know what hit him.
These teams are entertaining, are they not?
The show continues.
Experience game-to-game coverage of the night's biggest moments, live and commercial-free. MLB Network Strike Zone, Wednesday and Friday nights all season.
To left field. That is gone. Royce Lewis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive and he'll get there. The Twins walk it off. It's gone. Grand slam. He struck him out. Crushes it.
They thought it was gone.
It is a beautiful night here in Milwaukee. A little cold for the D train, but as we take a look around the league, Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso representing New York well as the players of the month in their respective leagues. Some injury concerns. We showed you Tatis getting hit by a pitch. Also, Jose Ramirez and Tristan Casas leaving their games early tonight. And to stay healthy in the long season, that's the hardest part.
Health is wealth, especially the impact players, so very important and unfortunate, especially that Tatis injury. Hopefully he's okay.
This is Vinny Capra batting in place of Turang. I told you Turang's been under the weather. So now with this game 9-0, it's Capra coming off the bench and Turang's night is over. Capra, good Italian name. You know, it's my birthday, the Brewers put a nice big sign on the video board here. It said, "Happy birthday, Wayne Randazzo," and it said, "Go Brewers" underneath. I understand. And so that was wonderful. Very nice of the Brewers to do that. But then, you know, they couldn't rig the sausage race so that the Italian sausage could win. What was that?
Hey, take it easy, birthday boy, all right? You know, you can't have everything on your day. You got enough. You got a nice little sign. I'm born in January. Don't nobody show me love. It's 12 days after New Year's. I don't get gifts, you know what I mean? So you just pipe down over there.
Fly off to Cancun.
They'll tell my business to these people.
The Italian sausage finished second. I mean, come on. He's got to win today.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll have a talk with him later. Fly ball to center as Crow Armstrong bats up and retires Vinny Capra. Here's the Italian. He was trying to push through.
You know why he got second? Because he was filled up with meatballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too heavy of a dinner.
Yeah, all that pasta. I love Italian food, though.
Which one is number 4? Is that the hot dog? Is that the hot dog who won?
Need a little help.
And there's all 5 of them. Hot dog. It's hard to tell the hot dog from the Polish sausage. I think the hot dog one. Fly ball to right as Churio flies out.
This ballpark, though, like I said earlier, I've enjoyed it as an opponent. I wish I could have made the team my final year playing baseball, but you know, it just never disappoints as far as just the environment and the knowledge that these fans have. And so love warming up in the bullpen and getting jawed at and going up against some high-level competition. Especially back then, they had the Prince Fielders of the world and guys like that. And so
Ricky Weeks, a guy you talked to.
That's my man. Absolutely. They were a talented group.
Christian Yelich, an MVP winner here in Milwaukee. So was Ryan Braun. So was Robin Yount. Certainly had some tremendous players over the years. There's Payamps warming up in the bullpen. There's Ricky Weeks, who's titled as an associate manager for this team.
Talked about how him and Pat Murphy, you know, he showed him his notes and they were almost identical in what he's done in this organization. I've got a chance to play against Ricky Weeks coming up in the minor leagues, and so we've had some fun battles in Beloit, Iowa. Cold down there too.
No question.
Yeah, but you knew he was a big leaguer from A ball all the way up.
Yelich punches out of the high fastball, and Ben Brown rolling here tonight. 6 scoreless innings, and it's all Cubs in Milwaukee.
You love the players.
50-50.
You love the game.
God!
Now you can own baseball greatness. MLB Auction lets you bid on game used and autographed bats, balls, jerseys, and more. With items added all season long from your favorite major league teams, legends, and players. Each item is MLB authenticated to ensure the item shipped directly to your home is the real deal. Want a piece of the game? Visit auctions.mlb.com.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Let's just get one of everything.
Fire everything. Yes, chef. 3% cash back on chicken. Yes, chef.
3% cash back on desserts.
Sorry, chef.
What's in your wallet?
Introducing baseball's all-new national pregame show, MLB Tonight, live at 5. Join Greg, Harold, and Dan and a star-studded roster for a preview of all the night's matchups. Get a first look at the lineups.
Premier talent.
First take from the players.
I'm just excited to put any pair of cleats on.
And the first of many breakdowns every game night. A full night of baseball starts at 5. MLB Tonight's national pregame show, weekdays on MLB Network.
Game time. We all know Ellie, Gunnar, and Paul's road to the show, but what about yours? The amateur years are just the stepping stone, and your journey to the big leagues. Game time. Take control of choices that matter.
Now the third baseman, Derek Martin.
Level up your game.
That one way back, and it's gone.
And become a legend, because your road to the show starts now.
And the Reds are World Series champions.
Rated E for everyone.
There's a full slate of MLS action on Apple TV this weekend. Tomorrow, 13 games highlighted by Lionel Messi and Inter Miami hosting the Red Bulls, and Chicago taking on Orlando. Then Sunday Night Soccer, the defending champion LA Galaxy battling Kansas City. Sign up for MLS Season Pass with a new lower cost today. Nine-0 the score. High drive to right. Off the bat of Bush, who's a big reason for that score. A grand slam by Bush earlier as he lines out to Frelick against Payam's the new pitcher for the Brewers.
Yeah, at this point, they're just trying to eat up outs and just keep the game and score and just work on some things and being able to navigate the lineups. And no matter what the score is, you still have to go out there and compete at a high level. Somebody's always watching.
Nico Horner looks at a strike. Say hello and wish a happy birthday to Sarah Langs from MLB Network. This does great work across the major league landscape. Deeply involved in stats and stories, and everybody's so inspired by Sarah. And she continues her battle with ALS. Our thoughts are always with Sarah. And we wish her a very happy birthday today.
1000%. We had a chance to have her in the booth last year. I believe it was in Cleveland. Just her stories, her enthusiasm. She's truly a joy to be around.
And these are some notable birthdays, including myself on there. I don't think I count.
Who messed up that graphic?
Yeah, really. Salta Lamacchia on there, though. I like that. Eddie Collins, Hall of Famer. And Sarah Langs, we wish her a happy birthday. I didn't see former Cub Keith Moreland on that list. His birthday is today as well. These are the things I worry about.
You're just talented.
Which random Cub I share?
You're just talented, man. You're just talented. It's obnoxiously good. It's talented.
There's a drive to left in the corner. Nico Horner hooked that one foul. After all the videos Cub fans are sending you, I'm glad you're sure glad to see one hook foul.
I love that. You see that? I'm just taking shots up here, man. That's all right. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll bring my ring next time I land in O'Hare. I will be up and down that terminal.
That's strike three to Horner. One out, or the 2 outs here in the 7th. Here's Heidi.
Yeah, the MLB record for most starting pitchers used before the start of May was 10 entering this season. The Brewers tied that mark. They don't have any reinforcements close, but a few guys are ramping up. Brandon Woodruff pitching at AAA. He's up to 75 pitches. Pat Murphy said he's going to need a few more rehab starts, hopefully back late May, early June. Aaron Ashby, the closest to returning. He's at a throwing program in Arizona, targeting late May for a return. Aaron Savali, in the early stages, he threw 2 innings of live BP. Hopefully he can be back in June. And Nestor Cortez told me he starts throwing on Monday. He's hoping if all goes well, he can be back in late June, guys.
Gotta happen, Wayne. Their depth, their experience. Hopefully Woodruff has that command and that rising fastball in the zone, and you pair him with those two, the veteran and the talent today's Peralta.
Peralta and Quintana, who will be the other 2 starters in this series for Milwaukee.
Now you start to have your rotation depth where you have 5 guys you can trust, that you can lean on, that can navigate the lineup twice, maybe 3 times, all important pieces.
Fly ball to right, hit pretty well. P. Armstrong has another. It's his 2nd tonight. And the Cubs are up 10-0. That Brewer fan disgusted. And PCA raising the roof for the third base side.
Oh, we've seen this young man turn into a superstar right in front of our eyes, Wayne. You talked about him last year, about all of his tools, and right now he's putting the power department together with his speed, not only on the base path, but in the outfield. I mean, he's a complete threat being able to do that.
He's a game changer for the Cubs as he breaks out. Acquired from the Mets for Javier Baez, when the Cubs unloaded their biggest stars at the trade deadline in 2021, and now they have one that is emerging, a breakout star this year, Pete Crow Armstrong. Talked about Tucker being a 5-tool player. Crow Armstrong could be one too.
This is what I mean about talking about one of the better outfielders if not the best outfield, what they do offensively and defensively. I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, he's turned into a bottom order threat where you have to pitch him like a four-hole guy, because every time he barrels a baseball, he has a chance to hit out of the ballpark.
Cubs have scored 10 runs tonight. Pete Crow Armstrong has hit 2 home runs. And it is all Cubbies here in Milwaukee tonight.
It's the great mascot race. Here we go. And they're off. They're neck and neck. Look at them go, folks. The crowd goes wild. It's the home stretch. It's a close race. It's the play at the plate. It's the Dodgers. Congratulations. You won the great mascot race.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Let's just get one of everything.
Fire everything. Yes, chef. 3% cash back on chicken. Yes, chef.
3% cash back on dessert.
Sorry, Chef.
What's in your wallet?
Can't get enough baseball? Get MLB Network today to stream up to 15 live out-of-market games a week and 24/7 access to MLB Network's award-winning shows. Start streaming MLB Network for just $5.99 a month.
You love the players.
50-50.
You love the game.
God!
Now you can own baseball greatness. MLB Auction lets you bid on game used and autographed bats, balls, jerseys, and more. With items added all season long from your favorite major league teams, legends, and players. Each item is MLB authenticated to ensure the item shipped directly to your home is the real deal. Want a piece of the game? Visit auctions.mlb.com.
And crushes it.
They thought it was gone. With anyone else, it just might have been.
Rodriguez at the wall. Impossible catch.
You know what? Ben Brown was absolutely outstanding, and obviously the score helped, but it helped him use his four-seam fastball anywhere from 95 to 97 miles an hour at the top of the zone, throwing the baseball with conviction. And when you get a lead like that, Wayne, you can't ask for your starter pitcher to pitch better than what I saw from Brown tonight.
They just want to fill up the strike zone.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Ben Brown did that. No walks, 4 strikeouts. Here's Chris Flexen, who was pitching well at AAA. This is his first appearance for the Cubs. Adds himself to a list of hundreds that have now appeared for both the Cubs and the White Sox. Chris Flexen. Sammy Sosa did. This with the White Sox. Actually was traded to the Cubs in 1992. As William Contreras fouls one back. Contreras has one of the 4 Brewer hits tonight. Ben Brown kind of continues swaying between good outings and not so good outings so far this season.
But you know, still being able to come in this environment, and I've done this where my offense has scored runs and I've given them back. He still was pedal to metal, being aggressive within the strike zone and pitching to his strength. Big time outing for him to be able to build off of, and we saw the highlights of him pitching well last year in this ballpark, and so you're adding more trusted depth in your rotation if you're Craig Counsell, and you want to continue to have a stronghold in this division. It starts and ends on the mound.
Fly ball to center field here as Crow Armstrong gets settled under it. And Contreras the first out of this 7th inning, but a good outing for Ben Brown tonight.
Yeah, being able to land and get that swing and miss off that breaking ball. So that's what the fastball does, Wayne. It gets everybody engaged to try to hunt it, and all of a sudden he throws it at the top of the zone to get swing and miss, and you change eye level down for that breaking ball. And so that's what he did. He was efficient, and he took out the game with his 74 pitches.
Sal Frelick is the batter here as he takes ball 1. The Cubs have scored 10 runs in a game for the 8th time already this season. This is their 33rd game.
They're a scary offense.
Two balls and no strikes on Frelick. Frelick, a Boston native, grew up a Red Sox fan. He idolized Dustin Pedroia. Pat Murphy says he might be the one player that reminds him the most of Pedroia since he coached Pedroia at Arizona State University. He actually arranged a meeting between the two as well.
That's high praise, especially what Pedroia did in the Sun Devil uniform and obviously in his professional career.
Well, it's out.
But I don't know about Pat Murphy's eyes because they also recruited me. So I don't know if I trust his judgment too well, but.
Well, you're a 20-game winner in the big leagues. I think it worked out.
But actually, when I was able, that would have been my junior year. We went to the playoffs. He actually sent me a very nice note from Arizona State saying congratulations and what have you. And so, yeah, he's always been a good man, and you never hear a bad word no matter where he's come from, whether it be Notre Dame or ASU, and now in that locker room as a big league manager.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Frelick, and a big swing of that high fastball that he fouled back. Well, the Brewers thought they were in a good position after the back-to-back homers last October. Game 3 of the wild card series. Jake Bauers broke a scoreless tie. The next batter was Frelick against Jose Butto of the Mets, making it 2-0 Milwaukee in the bottom of the 7th. Those are 2 big swings, and the Brewers had the ball in the hand of their closer, Devin Williams, with a chance to advance to the division series, and it fell apart. The big home run from Pete Alonso that sent New York past the Brewers and into the NLDS. On the walk to Frelick, a pinch runner enters the game for Milwaukee. Looks like Daz Cameron has come in to be the pinch runner. So Cameron is at first base now in place of Frelick. Of course, the son of great Mike Cameron, who had a 4-homer game in the major leagues on this date back in 2002. 4-homer games are all the rage again after Eugenio Suarez last weekend.
Man, you see the flight of Suarez. Every time he swung the bat, he was getting tired from all those round trippers. Goodness. Getting a chance to play against Mike Cameron in the big leagues, man. This is pure strength and power, the easiness of the swing, and obviously athletic ability. And so his son has a lot of attributes just like his father.
Daz Cameron at one time a pretty big prospect. He's still a capable player, was doing well at AAA. This ball hit well by Hoskins out to center, but Carl Armstrong backs up into the right spot to retire Hoskins. 2 outs. That was in 2002 on this date, May 2nd, on the south side of Chicago, and Mike Cameron cracked 4 home runs against the White Sox.
See how easy that swing was, Wayne? No, he's not even finishing it. He's just barreling that baseball, and they kept making mistakes at the heart of the plate. He was going to big man land with ease.
Jim Parquet on the other end of a few of those, and then he almost hit a 5th. He actually got really close. He flied out to the wall in an effort to make it a 5-homer game. Be the closest anyone's ever come to 5 in a game.
Pat Murphy raved about Daz, just talking about his ability in AAA, but wanting to see him in a situation where he gets a chance to play every day because he's an everyday player, and that's how you're going to develop.
You see the 4-homer game compared to the perfect game. It's been about the same number, 19 4-homer games and 23 perfect games. Which one do you think is a cooler achievement?
Both. You know I like to hit. You know I like to hit, so both, man.
All 4 to Collins, 2 walks in the inning for Flexen, and here's Heidi.
Yeah, Mike Cameron played 2 of his 17 big league seasons when Daz was just a kid. Ricky Weeks Jr. was the second baseman for the Brew Crew then. He said Daz was a better outfielder at 12 years old than some big leaguers he knew. He'd be in the outfield shagging balls every day. Daz has fond memories of being around the clubhouse here. Excuse me. I talked to Mike Cameron. He said he's always there with advice and help anytime Daz needs it. He shared some pretty sage advice about what he needs to do to stay prepared, working on fundamentals, getting the early hitting and to see the ball here in Milwaukee, and being the hunter when pinch hitting off the bench. A good guy to get advice from, guys.
Certainly so. And for Daz Cameron, another chance at the big league life here. We'll see if he gets more opportunities for the Brewers. Brewers with a man in scoring position here only for the second time tonight. Cubs have ran away with this one, scoring 9 runs in the first 2 innings, 7 in the second. And a 10-0 lead. The Reds are winning tonight. They lead Washington 6-1. Cincinnati is starting to put things together with a win tonight. They'll be 3 games above 500. And it could be an interesting race in the National League Central with the Cubs and the Reds and the Brewers. Couldn't count them out just because of tonight.
Well, the Reds got Austin Hayes back in the lineup. I thought that was a nice little balance, especially elongating them in the heart of the lineup. He provided some thump to help with Ellie De La Cruz and company. But the way this Cubs offense is firing right now, it's going to be very difficult to go up against that lineup, even with your frontline starters.
Still 0-2 on Ortiz. Brewers were head and shoulders above the rest of the National League Central last year. They won the division by 10 games, and they played really well inside of those divisional games. The Cubs did not. The Cubs were 23-29 against Central Division opponents last year. Actually played a lot better outside the division. Balls, 2 strikes on Ortiz. This is a guy the Brewers would like to see get going. I mean, Willie Adames had 32 home runs and 112 RBIs last year. He was a tremendous contributor. And you know, it's Ortiz playing shortstop this year, and the offense just has not been near the same.
Well, since his injury, the bat speed has come down, so he's going to have to be able to rebuild his strength and only hitting 201 since.
He strikes out here to end the 7th. Chris Flexen keeps the shutout intact. The Cubs with a 10-0 lead in Milwaukee.
Step up to the plate and get ready to play ball. The baseball show for kids where you can learn about batting, fielding, and everything in between from the real pros. Every swing is a big hit on Play Ball. Saturday mornings at 10 Eastern on MLB Network.
To left field. That is gone. Royce Lewis puts his team on top. Buxton racing in. He'll dive and he'll get there. The Twins walk it off. It's gone. Grand slam. He struck him out.
Lots of great baseball coming, and good guess, by the way.
Good luck trying to hit that, man. It's unhittable.
This is the show that never ends.
Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet, official vehicle of Major League Baseball. As Cameron stays in the game to play right field for Milwaukee. New pitcher out there for the Brewers as Grant Anderson takes over here in the 8th. Nicky Lopez turned inside out for a foul ball and a strike.
Anderson a tough cover, sidewinder from the right side. 17 Ks, 8 walks.
Justin Turner will bat for Ian Happ next. The Cubs got out to a huge lead earlier tonight. 2 runs in the first, 7 in the second. And a 10-0 lead on the Crew here in the 8th inning. Turner already has the mark on the back of his jersey.
I love it. Never change.
We saw before the game today was Ben Zobrist. He was doing some work for the Cubs, part of that 2016 championship team, and a huge part of it, that hit that he had in the 10th inning in Cleveland.
Good job by Ortiz, fouling off a good pitch. Lopez.
Nicky Lopez 0 for 2 tonight with a walk and a run scored, and he takes strike 3 cold. So 1 out as we send it to our studio. Here's Lauren Gardner.
Yeah, Wayne, let's go ahead and get you out to the Seattle Mariners and the Texas Rangers. Al Raleigh, how about this one in Arlington? His second homer of the game in the form of a grand slam that makes it 5-0 M's. Now 10-0 the score. And how about this? Big Dumper leads baseball with 12 homers, fellas.
He's dumping the baseball beyond the outfield walls in a lot of ballparks. Good start for Raleigh. 2 home runs tonight to give him a dozen now to lead the major leagues.
Kind of put him in the home run derby. I've been saying it for a year and a half, man.
Would he hit left-handed or right-handed?
Both. Both. Way backspin that, he one-armed that ball. Especially in that ballpark in Arlington, man. You got to be a strong individual to do that.
Well, they have the home run derby here. Justin Turner with a line drive in the left center field. Nice catch by Churio for the out. That was a sight to behold in that era when Sammy Sosa.
Man, I walked all the way over there, Wayne, and I looked up and I was like, that's got to be 500 plus. I mean, I remember that. I saw Josh Beckett give up a home run to Richie Sexton, and I told Josh to not throw him the split finger because Richie Sexton wants to get his arms extended, and sure enough, he hit that scoreboard so hard, knocked out a couple bulbs, and I just sat there and kept charting.
Here's Tucker lofting a fly ball to right. Cameron comes in for it. That's a 1-2-3-8.
Your day in baseball starts with MLB Central.
Good morning. How are you?
Lead off your morning with in-depth breakdowns.
Pull side for a homer.
Interviews with the players.
Going out there and winning. You know, that's what the U.S. is about.
And a little bit.
Honestly, couldn't be more honored and humbled to do it again. We're going there with one mission.
Of everything else.
There's got to be an end game to this. Strawberry banana smoothie or dead fish.
The baseball day begins with MLB Central. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Only on MLB Network.
Crushes it.
They thought it was gone. With anyone else, it just might have been.
Rodriguez at the wall. Impossible catch.
When this hot day's done, I walk alone. Long green grass, I'm coming back where I belong. Where I belong. Days gone by, my oh my, I'm going home. When this hot day's done, I'll see your face. There'll be no
Youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, go to playball.org and follow @playball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. There's our guy, Dan Plesac, Crown Point, Indiana.
Yeah. Matt Garza's my guy, though. That's my boy. Still talk to him till this day.
Chris Flexen goes to work in the bottom of the 8th inning as Caleb Durbin leads off for Milwaukee. The Cubs out to a 10-0 lead here. It has been over since really the 2nd inning. That's when the Cubs erupted for a 7-run inning, scoring 9 times in the first 2 innings. Durbin can't reach that high fastball. No balls and 2 strikes. Vidal Brujan has taken over in left field, with Justin Turner now at third base. So Brujan will bat where Lopez was. Durbin punches one foul.
And the Cubs lineup did a good job of taking the Brewers fan base out of it very quickly. You can kind of feel it coming as far as all the traffic that the Cubs were able to provide over the first couple innings, and it was going to be very difficult, an uphill climb for the Brew Crew.
And just a relentlessness about this Cubs offense. Mentioned 8 times now they've scored 10 runs in a game. It's the most in the major leagues. Looping fly ball to base hit for Durbin. First hit for the Brewers since the 4th inning.
Well, the one thing I've seen from Bryce Terang is the adjustment. You can see that he's more upright, giving himself more leverage. Pre-2025, I thought that when he was wide, it started to cause his stride to overstride. Now he's more narrow, gets his foot down earlier. Also, you can tell by the swing path. That first one was more level. That one is something that's a swing that wants to hit the ball more upright and get it elevated as well.
Terang had a nice year last year, but really trying to provide more offense this year. Won a Gold Glove last year, too. He left the game earlier when Vinny Capra came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning. This is Capra's 2nd plate appearance here as he bats in the 8th. Terang had been battling an illness over the last week or so. Needed a little extra rest anyway, so Pat Murphy got him out of this game after the 5th.
Yeah, he had that long run, just missing the baseball pop-up that really got everything going off Suzuki, and then he had a play up the middle, and so the ball was finding him. You tell he was out of breath a little bit, you know what I mean, had to call timeout. The trainers got out there, and he's such a valuable piece, and you already have enough people injured that you have to kind of protect him, especially being an important weapon at the top of the lineup for Pat Murphy.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Capra. Ball in the dirt, popped away from Kelly. Still can't find it as the runner Durbin advances to second base. The Brewers trying to at least get on the scoreboard here in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, Kelly shaking his head, saying that's a blockable ball. I have to be able to keep the double play intact, especially ahead in the count.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Capra. Kelly, he did not hang on to that. He tried to catch it after it fell out of his mitt, but he still was unable to corral it. It would have counted as a foul tip had he caught it after the bobble.
Yeah, hits the top of the glove, but he knocks it down enough to have a chance to catch it right in front of him.
If he would have caught it there with the bare hand, that still would have been an out. It's a pop up on the infield, on the shallow center field anyway, as Crow Armstrong comes in. And that retires Capra 1 away. Well, there is just something about your presence when we do a Cubs game that they all just want to talk about 2003.
I love it, man.
So fresh.
I love it.
In the minds of some of these Cubs fans, even after the win of the.
I'm telling you, Wayne, everywhere I go, you Dontrell Willis? I say, no, I'm not Dontrell. Yes, you are. And then they go off about that 2003. But that was such a memorable series. I believe game 6 and 7, one of the top 25 best baseball games of all time, and so the intensity was there, and one of the cooler moments that happened to us is when Kerry Wood hit that 3-run home run, man. I swear it seemed like the whole city of Chicago cheered at the same time. And I was like, man, I'm not going to lie. That was cool, but that wasn't at the same time. It was just like, but every time I see Kerry Wood, and I work for the Dodgers, so I get to talk to Mark Pryor about it. But if you just look at that roster and the way they were constructed, you know, I think everybody was around America, especially the Cubs faithful, felt like they were the better team to go represent the National League and go up against the dreaded Yankees.
Fouled away, well, especially with the Red Sox up in the ALCS at that time. You know, it seemed like the two cursed teams were headed to face off in that World Series. And then the Cubs lost their lead, the Red Sox lost theirs, and ended up not working out for either of them.
Yeah, back and forth, back and forth. 4-hour playoff games, if you will.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Chourio, who's 0 for 3 tonight. High pop up. We'll see if it stays in for Turner. This looks like it will not.
I mean, where were you in 16 when they finally won it? Because I know you've been a Cubs fan all your life. I know Mom's is a bigger Cubs fan. Where were you at in 16?
Cleveland. Made the drive.
Attaboy.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Chourio. Swing and miss. Good fastball. Chris Flexen strikes out Chourio, 2 outs. This was the end. The bouncer to Chris Bryant. That throw made it.
I got scared because I saw Chris Bryant kind of slide with under him and it made that throw. And I mean, just to hear the joy of finally breaking that curse, and you know, I'm honored to have been drafted in the 8th round by the Chicago Cubs. I still have my jersey, and it's an awesome organization to be a fan of. So I was happy for them in 16, and plus I was like, man, I get to go to O'Hare in peace finally.
2 outs with Yelich at the plate now.
Good pitch.
Now 108 years down the tubes with that bouncing ball. We mentioned Zobrist, who's here today, and he had the big hit in that 10th inning that gave the Cubs the lead back. One ball, 2 strikes now on Yelich. Mets are all over the Cardinals tonight, 8-3. Games in the 7th inning in St. Louis. Pete Alonso, the National League Player of the Month in May. Well, another home run and 2 more RBIs tonight. He's driven in 30.
He's playing with a chip on his shoulder, Wayne. We talked about it the first time we saw him in Houston.
Flexen punches out Yelich, and with back-to-back strikeouts puts up a 0 in the 8th.
Earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Let's just get one of everything.
Everything. Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back. Yes, chef!
This is so nice.
3% cash back on chicken.
Yes, chef!
3% cash back on risotto.
Yes, chef!
Where's my fish?
Here, chef!
Had a feeling you want to earn 3% cash back on dessert.
Sorry, chef.
What's in your wallet?
Think you know Aaron Judge?
Number 1, up on top, the best in modern baseball, non-steroids full season. Then Mickey Mantle in 57 and 56, and Aaron Judge again.
Get in the know with MLB Now on MLB Network.
When this hot day's done, I walk alone. Long green grass, I'm coming back where I belong. Where I belong. Days gone by, oh my
Welcome back. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Chevrolet with Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney. I'm Wayne Randazzo here in Milwaukee. See the little candle there? Thank you for a wonderful birthday. Everybody's been so nice here.
Oh, man, you deserve it, baby. Happy 21st.
And blow this out before this thing.
Burn down the wire. Happy birthday, brother. Honored to meet your family, man. They were wonderful inside the booth, and honored to work with you, man.
Well, likewise, as Seiya Suzuki hits a fly ball here off of Jake Bowers, who has pitched a lot. This is his 4th pitching appearance this year as a first baseman.
You're doing better than me. Man, go get the glove out of the garage.
One out here in the 9th inning, and the Cubs exploded early on. 9 runs in the first 2 innings, twisted this game up. Pete Armstrong's at 2 home runs tonight. Michael Busch a grand slam. And the Cubs have pounded on the Brewers from the get-go here. Kelly had an RBI early in this game. Oh, now he drives one out to left pretty deep, and that ball is off the wall. So Carson Kelly has his 2nd hit. It's the first hit in this game that wasn't a single or a home run. It's a double for Kelly.
You're seeing more position players pitching nowadays. I haven't really seen anybody I play with that can cut it loose, but sometimes you have to throw below the speed to get swings like that. Turn it into a little bit of a softball league, and hopefully they hit the ball and overswing. But I just love the nervous energy when they're finally on the mound, you know what I mean? And some guys are better than others. You know, you see Kike Hernandez in the Dodger uniform and go out there and seem to enjoy it. Miguel Rojas, and Bauer seems to be very comfortable throwing that nasty whooper duper.
2 outs with Horner at the plate. And the Cubs trying to get to 20 and 13. As Horner lines one to left field, they'll keep Kelly at 3rd. It's 2 hits for Nico Horner tonight. It's copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Some of those 82 Brewers that won the American League pennant: Paul Molitor and Robin Yount.
Robin Yount got a chance to golf with Mr. Yount. Truly a joy, and a lot like Bob Uecker, man. Just story after story with a smile on his face, and I know you're a big-time numbers guy, man, and I know his impact, but you just don't realize how good he really was until you look at those numbers.
Cub fans wanted Crow Armstrong to drill another one, but he'll settle for 2 homers tonight, and a big lead for the Cubs. This is not my fault, by the way.
It is your fault.
No, it's not.
Look at me sweating like Patrick Ewing in the fourth quarter. I'm already in trouble. Oh, no. Get fouled. Oh, man. You know, you ever seen that Southwest commercial where you want to get away? That's how I felt on that mound. I said, oh, my mama in the stands. I'm never going to hear that. But even my own mother was like, why'd you go inside the Ramirez? I said, you saw how I was sweating out there? I didn't know what I was doing. It felt like we was in Wrigley Field South Beach down there.
Well, that was the last.
That was you.
It was not. That was the last great moment for the Cubs in that championship series.
Oh, man, that's okay. Cubs fans, y'all better show me love, okay? Because I'm wearing it today, but that's all good. It's part of the sports, you know? Part of those moments. And to be honest with you, being a youngster and being obviously drafted by the Cubs, but I just didn't realize the impact and the reach of the Cubs fans, because no matter where we went, whether it was at Wrigley or down there, they traveled like you saw tonight. when the offense got going, it really felt like Wrigleyville North.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and Eric Haas leading off in the bottom of the 9th. Cub fans are happy tonight. Still 2 more games in this series. And really good pitching matchups tomorrow and Sunday. Jose Quintana for the Brewers tomorrow against Jamison Tayo. Sunday, Freddie Peralta on the mound for Milwaukee, and it'll be Shota Imanaga for the Cubs. It usually ends up being a spirited series when these two teams meet. You know, tonight notwithstanding, it's been all Cubs here. It'll be an interesting series from here as the Cub fans are getting loud now.
And they ain't leaving. They're just creeping down closer to the dugout right now. And so that's the one thing I love about the Cubs fans. And now the kids are getting it. It's past their bedtime.
Cub fans are up there.
But with the way this offense is rolling right now, if they are able to stay healthy with some key players, they feel like, man, we know the National League is a gauntlet, but we feel like we're one of the better teams in the National League.
Liner right to third as Turner makes the catch. It's going to be an interesting season at Clark and Addison, that's for sure. The Cubs feel like they have the best team in the National League Central, maybe one of the best teams in all of baseball.
In the National League, and it'd be very important for them, especially if you look at the Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Mets from the East, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and look how well they did against the NL West, going 11-9. They feel like, hey man, if we get one of the top seeds and have them have to go through Wrigley, the advantage goes to the Cubs.
Certainly the advantage has been with them tonight. They scored a lot early. 9 runs in the first 2 innings of this game, and it's been a shutout between Ben Brown and Chris Flexen as Crow Armstrong with 2 homers tonight. Cubs win 10-0 in Milwaukee.
Their offense continues to roll, Wayne. We talked about it in the pregame show. The top of baseball, averaging almost 6 runs after this matchup. They're going to average over 6 runs a ball game, and so that's a gauntlet for anybody to be able to navigate this lineup. And with Pete Crow Armstrong at the bottom of this lineup doing what he's doing, they have 6 to 7 guys that can beat you on any given day, and they're all firing and they're healthy at the same time.
And the Cubs make their way north for the first time this year, and they fly the W here on their enemy's turf as they ripped up 9 runs in the first 2 innings. Michael Busch's grand slam was the backbreaker. Pete Crow Armstrong added a couple of solo home runs, and it was all Cubs here tonight, 10-0 with PCA, our Chevrolet Electric player of the game. Home run in that second inning, a 7-run second, his 3rd career multi-home run game. He laced one in the 7th inning as well. Now 8 home runs and 12 steals.
That's the swing that I was impressed by. A short, easy swing, contact, went second deck, and everybody looking at that dugout like, uh-oh, we're seeing a young star emerge in front of us.
Pete Crow Armstrong waiting to talk to Heidi Watney downstairs.
Star indeed, Dontrell. Pete, 2 home runs, almost a 3rd right there. You're raising the roof as you're rounding 3rd. It's a mixture of boos and cheers. What's it like in this regional rivalry?
I love this rivalry. It's so nice that we're so close. We play them regularly. It's a really good ball club. I think it was a pretty even trade-off in terms of managerial duties and whatnot. So I hope Counts loves the booze coming back, because we love it for him and we're glad he's with us. But it was just a good way to, come out swinging and, took care of the rest.
This sounds like a home game for you guys right now with all these guys chanting your name. Facing a position player like you did just now, what's that like?
Scary when the ball is getting thrown at your head. No, Bowers is a good dude. It was fun to laugh with him about that one, laugh with Haas about that one. But, if we see a position player on the mound, that means we did a lot right today. And, it's nice getting there. And, Benny and Flex, that was about as good of a, outing as you could make from either of them. So that was fun to be a part of.
You guys give Benny a lot of run support. I had to get out of the way for that one. It's a cold night. Ben Brown, though, in his 6 starts, you guys have scored 61 runs. What is it with him on the mound?
I don't know. Benny's one of the best teammates I've ever been around. It's been such a pleasure to get to share a field with him specifically. I don't know, man. He filled up the strike zone today from the jump, and that makes it easy on us. And it was a good, fast pace. He had really good tempo out there, so that was just really, really good all around.
You guys are obviously off to a great start. You've scored 10+ runs 8 times already this season. It is May 2nd. How much do you guys feed off each other at the plate?
Having Ian Happ as your leadoff hitter is it's nice. I think he was 1 for 1 with 2 walks in the first 3 at bats, and Happer starts the game for us on base so many times, and he's just a really good catalyst for this offense, and he's got a lot of good guys behind him to back him up, and as do all of us. So Happer definitely is good in that one hole, and I think he's a big reason as to why we put up big numbers.
Thanks, PCA. Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Back to you, Wayne.
Big Crow Armstrong, our player of the game tonight. 2 home runs, and the Cubs beat the Brewers 10-0 here in Milwaukee to start their season series against one another within the National League Central. We'll break this one down in just a moment here in Milwaukee.